3 years, $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed. Solid addition by the Raiders with Jimmy G, believes ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
They could make the playoffs. They were in 9 one-score games a year ago, and Jimmy G's 40-17 as a starter, led the NFL over the last 3 years at 8.3 yards per attempt. I'm a big Jimmy G fan. I think he'll do great with Josh McDaniels.
Mike Tannenbaum on Canty and Carlin. McDaniels was Garoppolo's offensive coordinator in New England. 49ers bolstered their defensive line, agreed to a 4-year, $84 million deal with Eagles defensive tackle Javon Hargrave, $40 million guaranteed. Eagles free agent linebacker TJ Edwards plans to sign with the Bears. Chargers running back Austin Eckler requesting permission to speak with other teams about a potential trade after preliminary talks on an extension stalled. Georgia Tech has hired Celtics assistant Damon Stoudemire as its new basketball coach. The sides agreed on a 5-year contract.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. My goodness. This is one of those days where we got 10 pounds of stuff we're going to try to fit in a 5-pound bag. LSU baseball sweeps Samford. They are heading toward conference play this weekend. Major milestones in LSU softball, gymnastics. The Saints introduced Derek Carr. The entire Saints defensive line has signed in the NFC South today. Will Wade is the new coach at McNeese. What else do we have to get to that I haven't even mentioned? The Saints have added a tight end. It looks like a receiver is gone. The Pels split back-to-back. We got stuff. We got stuff. Lots of it here over the next 3 hours. Let me get to baseball in the next segment. We'll start with the Saints, who introduced Derek Carr on Saturday at a press conference in New Orleans. Here was Dennis Allen welcoming his new quarterback to the Big Easy.
I was fortunate enough to be with the Raiders when we drafted him in the second round and have always admired the type of person that he is as well as the type of player that he is. And so it's been outstanding just to watch him grow, both as an individual and as a player. And we're excited about having him as our quarterback.
And as for Derek Carr, he actually credited former Saints quarterback Drew Brees as a big reason why he picked New Orleans.
I sent him a text, and it was early in the process. I think it was right after my visit here. And I sent him a text, and he actually ended up. We were in Mexico at the time, getting our vacation on, and it wasn't too much of a vacation for me because my mind was spinning. But he called me. And I had a free afternoon. He called me, and I just asked questions. Asked questions about the organization, asked questions about Mickey, Pete, the city, everything, the community, all that. And a lot of what he said is probably why I'm sitting here today. When someone you respect so much that you've competed against, and he's one of I'm not coming here trying to be Drew Brees. That man is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm coming here to be Derek Carr. And I have so much respect for him, though, as a player. I have so much respect for him more as a person and as a dad. I've watched him at the Pro Bowl, sitting there with his kids. A lot of what he had to say was going to carry weight with me.
Derek Carr introduced as the Saints quarterback. Got plenty of thoughts on this we'll get to. He talked about the Saints defense. He talked about Michael Thomas. He talked about a ton. So throughout the show, we'll talk plenty about Derek Carr's introductory press conference, what it means for the Saints. The NFL league year begins on Wednesday officially, so teams can start signing free agents. The legal tampering period, however, began today, Monday. So you're starting to see a lot of news leaked out there about contracts that have been agreed upon. They can't become official until they sign, but terms and all that sort of stuff, that's happening right now. We knew that defensive line and defensive tackle in particular was going to be a major focus for the New Orleans Saints in this cycle. That has become an absolute dire must. It's no longer a want. It is quite literally the number one priority for the New Orleans Saints moving throughout this offseason now after what happened today. Let's start with the biggest news, and that is David Onyemata. Onyemata, we all know, is a guy who the Saints drafted. He has spent his entire career in New Orleans. You know the backstory. He's from Nigeria, had never seen football until he went to Canada for college, played there. The Saints liked the skill set, the player. They drafted him, developed him, and now David Onyemata is staying in the NFC South, but he's headed to Atlanta. News from Mike Garafolo that the Falcons and Onyemata agreed to terms, and Schefter followed up with the news that it's a 3-year, $35 million deal with $24.5 million fully guaranteed. So for David Onyemata, this means he reunites with Ryan Nielsen, who is the Saints' defensive line coach, co-DC last year, who is now the defensive coordinator in Atlanta. So Onyemata goes to Atlanta, reunites with Nielsen. Of course, Terry Fontenot is the GM in Atlanta, who was part of the Saints organization when they drafted Onyemata. So there's a lot of familiarity there with the coaching staff, the front office. They know him being in the division and everything, and they guaranteed him $24.5 million. So David Onyemata is going to be a member of the Atlanta Falcons. It didn't stop there, however. Shy Tuttle is also leaving New Orleans, but staying in the division. As Schefter reported, Shy Tuttle has reached an agreement with the Carolina Panthers on a 3-year, $19.5 million deal, which includes $13 million in guarantees at signing. So today, both David Onyemata and Shy Tuttle have agreed to deals to stay in the NFC South, leaving New Orleans with Atlanta and Carolina, respectively. If you're scoring at home, that means the Saints do not have any of their defensive linemen that were part of the rotation this past year currently under contract. Onyemata's going to Atlanta. Tuttle's going to Carolina. Kentavious Street is a free agent. Malcolm Roach is a free agent. You got nothing. So when I say defensive tackle is no longer just a need, it is not only a must, it is literally your number one priority. You don't have a defensive line. I mean, I'm laughing because it's just kind of comical at this point. And by the way, I don't want this to sound like sour grapes with the Onyemata news. But I'm actually okay. I had prepared myself for David Onyemata moving on. And while, of course, you want to keep the players that you drafted and developed, when I look at Onyemata, I see a guy at 30 years old that is aging. And the Saints have always had it as their policy. You'd rather get rid of a guy a year too soon than a year too late. And at times it bites you. Darren Sproles still had plenty left in the tank when they let him go, and he went to Philly. Malcolm Jenkins had plenty left in the tank when he, coincidentally, went to Philly, and ultimately they brought him back. But more often than not, the Saints have been right when they've let guys walk as opposed to overpaying to keep aging players. And when I look at Onyemata, he was a rookie in 2016 when they drafted him, and he played in 16 games, but he didn't really become a starter until a full-time starter until 2019. And he has been a full-time starter each of the last 4 seasons. Now, of course, in 2021, he only played in 11 games. He had to serve the suspension, the PED suspension, but came back this year, started all 17 games, had a career high in solo tackles with 25. He had 5 sacks, which was the second most of his career. So I know on one hand I'm saying I think he's an aging player, but he's coming off a really solid year. But I look at it in total. What's it going to cost to keep Onyemata for this next contract as he moves into his 30s? And then I look at the fact that, okay, yes, he had some numbers this past year, But what did it mean for the defense as a whole? The Saints' run defense dropped all the way to 24th in the NFL. Flatly, like, somebody has to make the tackle. Like, somebody is going to make plays. And is 5 sacks from the interior over a 17-game season enough to say that's the guy who we feel is our dominant interior player? Now, do I want David Onyemata on my team as part of my interior rotation? Absolutely I do. But do I want him on the roster at the price that Atlanta's willing to pay him? 3 years, $35 million? Probably not. Because I think you can get younger and you can get players just as productive as Onyemata cheaper. So, listen, there's clearly going to have to be a makeover at that position. I like David Onyemata. I like Shy Tuttle a lot. But those guys combined to be the interior of a defense that was 24th in the NFL against the run. That took a serious step back after guys like Sheldon Rankins and Malcolm Brown had left. You've seen that interior of the defense regress. So I'm good getting younger there. I'm good getting more financially prudent there on your defensive line as well, instead of overpaying for veteran players because you know them. So it's unsettling because you have to remake that position, but I'm okay with them going back to the drawing board because by and large the Saints have been able to find guys like Onyemata in round 4, like Shy Tuttle as an undrafted free agent. They've done a good job identifying those players, and I think I trust them to do it again. Now, where do they turn? Listen, every single mock draft you see heretofore had better have the Saints taking a defensive tackle at number 29. The most recent mock draft I saw today was at USA Today, and they've got the Saints at 29 taking Kalijah Cansey, who's a defensive tackle out of Pitt. I can't tell you I know a ton about him, but he's 6'1", 281, and he's a guy on the interior that can be an interior blow-up-the-launch-pad type guy. So I'm not telling you he's Aaron Donald coming from Pitt, who is, but that's an interior player where you desperately need it, and every single mock draft moving forward had better have the Saints taking defensive tackle at 29 because I can't see a justification taking any other position at this point when you literally have no defensive tackles. So the Saints will be spenders in free agency at defensive tackle, and they are certainly going to use some of their draft capital. They have to make that position. Last year in their final 53, they kept 4 defensive tackles. You'll have some on the practice squad, no doubt, as well. They can rotate. But when you look at that defensive line, you may still lose Marcus Davenport in free agency. You've got Cam Jordan, Granderson. You hope Peyton Turner can amount to something. Tano Passanio is back, but those are your ends. You need interior players, and that's going to be it's a must. Giant target right now for the Saints as they move forward. Okay, so David Onyemata, Shy Tuttle leaving New Orleans but staying in the division. Again, Onyemata to Atlanta, Tuttle headed to Carolina. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. Plenty of Saints stuff throughout the day. You can always email us, tweet us, jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube chat or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back, talk some LSU baseball. They sweep Samford over the weekend. What a tune-up it was before LSU heads to a College Station to open up SEC play this weekend against the Aggies. We'll knock out a break around the SEC in about 15 minutes. We'll talk how the league landed 8 teams in the big dance. So much to do, and glad to have you hanging out. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Really encourage you to follow Gordon on all the social media apps, if it's Twitter or Facebook, Instagram or TikTok. Just go to @GetGordon. You'll see him all right there, and you can see so much of the great content that Gordon's producing. We tell you about Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys and the Get Gordon or the Gordon Gives arm, the charitable arm of the law firm, and how they're doing so much great stuff. Recently, Gordon presented the check for $10,000 along with Kim Mulkey for the great promotion they did throughout the second half of the basketball season with Angel Reese and with Alexis Morris as well, raising money for Turner Syndrome awareness. $10,000 he donated. So many great ways that Gordon continues to give back. Now, if you're an injured person in Louisiana, you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault, of course, get Gordon and get it done. You can call 888-8888 or go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hey, Muse.
What's up, Scone? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How you feeling about all the run rule wins for LSU?
I mean, look, dominate if you can dominate, bro. Why not?
No, I mean, just, playing 7 innings.
Oh, I mean, 7-inning games are the bane of the existence when it comes to baseball.
Okay.
Asking for a 7-run rule on a Friday night is absolute weak sauce. I mean, that is
asking for a 7.
Yeah,
what?
I mean, trying to like dude, it's Friday night. Throw your best. Like if you can't get through 9 innings with your best, suck it up.
Oh, you're saying Samford?
Yeah, that is weak. Even Butler played 9 innings on a Friday night, and Butler stinks. Samford's better than Butler. Play 9 innings on Friday at least. Give me a break on that. Come on.
LSU
D1 baseball, bro. Clean it up.
LSU is there's no farm system.
I don't care.
There's
you
no
can
farm
do it on
system.
a Friday night, man.
There's no farm system. If you go run through all your pitching, you could set yourself back. So you can't
You
go.
got run rule 3 games anyway.
You can't call up a dude from the minors just to give me an arm to skip someone's out.
How they do it all the years prior to this one?
Well, they didn't. Is what I'm about to get to here in a second. So here was so this is one. I was thinking about this, and shout out a buddy of mine, shout out Jeff Hawk, who said we were talking this weekend. He said, "Man, LSU's going to set their record for mercy rules in a season." And I was like, I mean, especially because now you can do it in SEC play now,
right?
And then I was like, I'm going to do the research to see what the record is. And then I started to think about it. I'm like, wait a minute, like they probably already have.
They have to.
It's 7. They've already 7 times. You like baseball.
Love it.
So I wanted to ask you this without prepping you because this isn't a I'm not trying to nail you on. I'm just curious, as a guy who watched a lot of baseball. What do you think the LSU, and I went through like as much history as you can find, which, let's be clear, it's not always easy to find like a box score from 86.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you think? I got it right here on this little slip of paper. I had to look. I went year by year, and I went year by year and wrote down.
Look at that.
Anyway, so like for a lot of years here, what do you think the record would be for LSU? How many
for run rule? No,
mercy rule. So this is not weather or travel,
right? But we're talking 56-game regular season, not SEC tournament. Does the SEC tournament count?
Count SEC tournament.
Okay,
which is apropos. Very good point.
Yes,
very good point. Very good catch by you.
I don't think they've done it yet. I think they're very close. I'm going to say 8 is the record.
They've already got it.
Do they? Okay.
Last year it happened 4 times. Prior, in 2014, they had 3 mercy rules. In 2006, there were 3, but it happened to them once, so they only did it twice. But they got run ruled by Ole Miss. And then in 1992, there were 3. Now, again, this is as best I could tell. Now, here's the little caveat, though. And this is why I was legit curious, because I was thinking about it yesterday going, man, you keep playing 7-inning games. Your bullpen is getting no work. Mm-hmm. And then this, legit becomes a thing where it's like, how do you get these guys work? As a matter of fact, here was Jay. I'm going to come back to it, but here was Jay Johnson when he was asked, hey, is there a downside to all these run rule wins?
I know what we're going to do. Tell them not to score and not to throw shutouts. And I'm proud of the team. And it's something we can't control. And, something I learned a long time ago in coaching is if you spend time worrying about things you can't control, then you're probably not doing a good job of the things that you can do to help make your team better. So, it is what it is.
So I get it, but I really would like to know his thoughts on the bullpen because, these guys aren't getting work. I'm not good at math, but if that's 6 outs you're not getting 7 times, that's 42 innings. Am I doing this right?
Yeah. And you add that up over the last few weeks, especially. Matt, they used 5 guys out of the pen this week.
This week?
This weekend.
It's crazy.
Actually, yeah, 5.
It's crazy. So that's 42 innings of work your bullpen is not getting.
Well, Riley Cooper pitched twice, so really you only used 4.
But think about now this is total first world problem. We're sitting here going you're that good, you keep run ruling everybody, and I'm trying to find something to say, could this be an issue? So I'll get back to the point that I was making. So they've already got their record for the number of mercy rules, as best I could tell. Now, again, maybe Todd Polites can come behind me and say, well, no, technically this or that. But what I found is when you go back into the 80s and the early 90s, you see a ton of 7-inning games because they would play a lot of 7-inning doubleheaders. So, for example, in 1988, they played 21 shortened games. 21. Now, so many of those were SEC weekends where they played 7-inning doubleheaders. In 87, they played 17 shortened games. In 86, it was 21. In 85, it was 20. So, maybe this is a better question for, Ben McDonald is going to be with us at 5 o'clock. And I'm going to ask Ben this question because he played in this era. So I'm going to be very curious his thoughts on this. But this would be something for Ben or for Skip or someone from that era to say, but again, remember then, you had unlimited, there were no roster limits. You get 50 guys on your baseball team if you wanted. So you didn't have to worry about, issues or depth or any of that sort of stuff. But I'm curious. It may amount to nothing. It may be a net positive that you're not having to overwork guys. It's just something worth keeping an eye on because that's a lot of innings that your bullpen are not getting right now. But LSU right now is just absolutely incredible. They're 15-1. They've won 10 straight. The 15-1 mark is the best start to a season since 2015. Of course, that team went to Omaha and you could argue that was Maneri's. Well, it was. Look, you could make an argument 2015 was Maneri's best team. They didn't win it all, but you could make a sound argument for it. They were just phenomenal, and for their efforts, more honors this week. Thatcher Hurd was named the SEC Pitcher of the Week. He won 2 games this week. He won on Monday and then came back again on Sunday. In his 13 innings pitched, he had 18 strikeouts, walked 3, and did not allow a single run. And then Jared Jones was named SEC Freshman of the Week. All he did this week was hit 600 and hit 4 home runs in 4 consecutive at-bats. His last 2 ABs on Friday were homers. His first 2 ABs on Saturday were homers. Just absolutely in fuego. We also got to see Dylan Cruz continue to be Dylan Cruz, which is he's just playing a different game than everybody else right now. He's hitting over 500, and he's been on base every game this year. He's just at such an elite level. And someone asked me over the weekend, would you take Cruz at this point in his career? Like, is Cruz better at this point over Bregman? And you're splitting hairs a little, but this is the difference. Both are elite defenders at premium positions. Both are 5-tool guys. The biggest difference, though, is Bregman for his entire LSU career hit 21 homers. He hit 6 as a freshman, 6 as a sophomore, 9 as a junior. He never hit double-digit in a season. Cruz hit 18 as a freshman. He hit 22 last year. Cruz hit more homers as a sophomore than Bregman did in his entire career. And I remember talking to Alex about this after he got drafted. He said, look, when I was at LSU, Maneri and the staff wanted him hitting the ball on the ground and on a line. Said as soon as he got in the Astros farm system, they wanted everything on a line or in the air. Like, they wanted him to develop his power stroke. It's not something he did here. So you're splitting hairs. Understand, the guy was the second pick in the draft. But Cruz is right there. I mean, you're talking about just different level of talent right now. And something you saw yesterday, if you watched the game or listened to the game on Sunday, the thing that this team has with Tommy White that they didn't have a year ago or at any point during Cruz's career is you have protection for him in the lineup. The Samford pitched around Cruz twice. The first time, Tommy White grounded into a double play. Afterwards, the next time, they put Cruz on with a base open, runners at second and third, so they loaded the bases for Tommy White, and he hit a 400 and bajillion-foot homer to center field. I mean, he hit a grand slam. It's like, that's a risk. If you want to pitch around Dylan Cruz now, okay, now you got to deal with that big donkey coming behind him that's liable to change the scoreboard with one swing. We're running out of superlatives, y'all. I mean, they're just a phenomenal team. They hit 1 through 9. Defensively, the improvement from a year ago is stark. I mean, we all heard Jordan Thompson had really made that progress and made some tweaks, and he's been awesome at short. I don't have any flaws with this team. I mean, maybe do you have a closer? We'll find out in conference play. But you're really, really nitpicking. They've got pitching. They've got depth. They've got speed. They've got power. They hit for average. They're relentless. It's just they're everything we thought they would be. Loved seeing Tommy White go back to third base on Sunday. I think that is your best lineup when you can get White back at third. You put Morgan at first. You get Joe Bear back in the outfield along with Kling, who is, I think Lynn Rollins is coining it now, Kling Kong. They're just awesome. I don't know what else to say. They're really, really good, and I'm very excited to watch this team through conference play to see if they can keep it up or at what pace they can keep it up. So they've been great, man. LSU sweeps Samford. They're 15-1. They've won 10 straight games. They'll play tomorrow against UNO. Former Tiger Blake Dean brings his Privateers to the box, and then they head off to College Station to get the SEC party started. All right, it's after further review. We'll come back again. Ben McDonald with us here in hour number 3. We'll not got a break. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. You can learn more about all the services that they offer at Michelli.com. They do offer ISO 17025 accreditation. If you don't know what that means, that doesn't apply to you, but if you do, you understand why that's significant. So they service all scale and measurement equipment makes and models. They make it convenient for you. Their track system allows you 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates, which makes you more efficient. If you ever get audited, boom, it's right there for you. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, y'all, it is after further review. I do have some LSU NIL news that I'm going to get to in about 30 minutes from right now, right at the start of hour number 2. Brian Kelly's promoted one of his staff members internally, not on field, an off-field staff member, and had a chance to talk to that person today and shared some an interesting NIL tidbit that we'll pass along. And that's right at the start of hour number 2, 30 minutes from right now. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, go around the SEC, and take a peek at the at the SEC's draw for March Madness. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about ProCharge, ProChargeEV.com. A couple things. EVs are everywhere now. You saw them all over the Super Bowl. When you drive around town, you see electric vehicles everywhere. You have electric vehicles, you need chargers. So two things to tell you about. Number one, of course, if you're a car dealership, you need EV chargers to be able to get your inventory. You know that. ProCharge is local. Look, big national companies can sell them to you, but then if something goes wrong, who do you call? Well, ProCharge is local. So even if someone else installed them, you can call ProCharge if you ever have an issue. ProChargeEV.com, ProChargeEV.com. They're local. Let me also remind you, if you're a business owner, this is an amenity. EV chargers are an amenity for your customers, for your employees, and they can be a money maker. There are tax incentives there. There are tap-to-pay options. ProCharge can manage all that. So all you do is get a check every month. Learn more. It's worth doing the due diligence. It's a new technology. It's an emerging technology. ProChargeEV.com. Online, ProChargeEV.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Well, after much wrangling, after wailing, gnashing of teeth, fist pounding, etc., P. Maravich's record is going to remain intact. If you hadn't heard the news yet today, or Sunday, I should say, Detroit Mercy was not invited to the CBI. if you weren't following the story, I'll just very, very quickly catch you up. Young guy by the name of Antoine Davis plays for Detroit Mercy, took advantage of his COVID year. So this was his 5th season of college basketball. He led the country in scoring at 28 points per game. And after their conference tournament, he was 3 points shy of breaking Pistol Pete's all-time scoring record. You could throw out the asterisk, whatever debate you want, because he did it in so many more games. But Detroit Mercy was sub 500 this year. They were 14-19, which means they did not qualify for the NCAA tournament or the NIT. But there was a lot of conversation about them playing in the CBI, which does not have a rule about a win-loss record. And there was some thought that they would play in that tournament if given the opportunity, meaning Antoine Davis would have the opportunity with just 3 points to break Pete Maravich's all-time scoring record. In the end, the CBI did not invite Detroit Mercy to participate, so their bracket was released, and no Detroit Mercy, which means Antoine Davis's career is over, and Pete Maravich's record is still intact at 3,667 points. Of course, Pistol Pete did it in just 83 games. His freshmen were not allowed to play varsity, and of course, shortened season as well. So 83 games for Pistol Pete, and Davis played 144 career games. So more games but fewer attempts for Davis, fewer games but more attempts for Maravich. Either way, and no three-point line, as we know. But the conversation, the debate can end here and save another global pandemic or a transcendent player like Pete Maravich who decides to stay in college basketball and play for 3 or 4 seasons. It's hard to imagine this ever being broken because it took a global pandemic granting a player of that caliber a 5th season to even threaten it. Hard to imagine that we'll see a day where, in my lifetime anyway, where this might be threatened again. So Pistol Pete's record is intact. All right, it's after further review. I'm glad to have you aboard with us. You can always email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump at the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. I always encourage you to check out the inventory online, whether you're buying new or certified pre-owned. If it's on the lot, it's online at SouthPointVW.com. Tell you all the time about the Volkswagen line. The style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the great German engineering, all the safety features, the great gas mileage, all the technology without the cost. But if you want to shop another make or model, you can do that. Just go to the used vehicles tab right there at the top. My guy Kerry over at South Point, the used vehicle manager, the certified pre-owned manager, always tells me, about great deals they have, and it's all makes and models. Like the first one up there is a 2022 Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport. You can go check that out right now at SouthPointVW.com. New or certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, SouthPointVW.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Ole Miss Rebels.
It's official. Ole Miss has hired Chris Beard as their new basketball coach. Remember, Beard was fired by Texas in January following his arrest in December. On February the 15th, those charges, however, were dropped. About a week later, Ole Miss fired Kermit Davis, and now they have hired Chris Beard. You remember Beard led Texas Tech to the national title game in 2019.
The Missouri Tigers.
Mizzou's landed its quarterback for the 2024 recruiting class. Daniel Kalen, 3-star prospect out of Nebraska, has committed to Eli Drinkwitz and co. Kalen's the number 30 quarterback in the country for 2024. Recently visited Colorado and North Carolina. He's also got offers from Florida State, Miami, Nebraska, among others. 6'2", 195-pounder. He is the 3rd Mizzou commit for 2024.
The Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas
added its 2nd verbal commit for 2024. It is defensive lineman Deion Stutz out of Memphis. He's committed to the Hogs. 6'3", 250. He's a 3-star prospect. Had offers from Ole Miss, Tennessee, Louisville, South Carolina, Texas A&M. The number 70 defensive lineman in the country, the number 22 overall prospect in the state of Tennessee. He will be a Hog.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And Carolina men's basketball has had its first player jump into the transfer portal. Trayvon Minott has entered the portal, their big center. Played a lot as a freshman and a sophomore. First year here under Lamont Paris, though he played in just 7 games, so now he's entering the portal. Today, the first day that the portal opens to all players. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Again, gcopnet.com. 8 SEC teams earn NCAA tournament bids. Mississippi State is in the play-in as an 11 seed. They'll take on Pitt coming up on Tuesday to see who jumps into the bracket as that 11 seed. And on Wednesday, Florida will play in the NIT on Wednesday. Thursday, when the action gets underway in earnest, Missouri will play Utah State. Bama, as the number 1 overall seed, is awaiting its opponent. Arkansas in an 8-9 matchup against Illinois, as is Auburn in an 8-9 matchup against Iowa. Tennessee's a 4 seed. They'll take on ULL. And Texas A&M, the Aggies, a 7 seed that draw Penn State. Aggies done no favors by the selection committee with their draw. And we know on Friday, Kentucky, which was slotted a 6 seed, they'll take on Providence. That's going to be a night game on CBS. Kentucky against Providence, the 6-11 game. So 8 SEC teams earn NCAA tournament bids, tied with the Big Ten for the most in college basketball this year. Remind you, do you have the bracket challenge? Read handy. Let's grab that. Our bracket challenge is live at 1045ESPN.com. Everybody's filling out a bracket anyway. So get to 1045ESPN.com and fill out your bracket and play along with us. I know the winner, the grand prize, is if you get a perfect bracket, you get $1 million and like a 3-year lease on an Acura. Do you have it?
Yeah. So
okay,
yeah,
please.
You're right.
Please.
No, you're right.
Hey,
It's a
go ahead.
You're right though. It's a perfect bracket. So first place is $2,023. Perfect bracket is $1 million and a 3-year lease on a 2023 Acura Integra.
Nice.
That's all it says in the thing. But I mean, yeah, that's what I was gonna just kind of confirm for you there. Yeah, $1 million and an Acura.
Okay, so make your bracket. It's presented by Acura Baton Rouge and Coors Light. So please go to 1045ESPN.com. You're filling out a bracket anyway. Just fill out ours. It's free to play. 1045ESPN.com. Oh, you know the other thing about this year's bracket challenge? We did a thing where now, even if like your bracket's busted, there will be round by round winner. So you can fill out a new bracket for that round each week or each round as it goes along as well. So if you fill out your bracket and it busts for the big tournament, you'll still have an opportunity to win week by week as the bracket challenge goes along. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Are you a multiple bracket guy, or are you one bracket? You're one bracket?
One.
Okay.
And listen, I have, I say this every year. I'll say it again. Okay. If you want to fill out 50 brackets, okay, good on you. I don't care.
It's a lot of fun.
You're increasing your odds of winning. Great. Go fill out 50 brackets and enter a bunch of contests and increase your odds of winning, whatever. Don't brag then that you won because you filled out 50 brackets. Fill out one bracket, win, then I'm impressed. You fill out 50, one of them's going to hit somewhere along the way. Oh, and you finish dead last in 49 other ones. Chump. I'm emotional about this, Muse.
I can see that.
I'm all about I'm about a meritocracy, okay? If you fill out a bracket and you win, good on you. You fill out 50 brackets and you win, I'm not impressed.
I think like 4 is a good sweet spot, but yeah.
No. One bracket.
Yeah.
You can fill out 4. Fill out 4.
What if
fill out 4? Don't brag to me that you won.
What if you enter the same exact bracket into like multiple competitions? That's good. One bracket for you? Yeah.
That's what I do.
Okay.
I have one bracket and I'll enter it into all of the contests.
Okay.
It doesn't have any great odds of winning. I understand that. But I don't care if you enter 4 or 5. I don't care how many you fill out. It's probably a smart play. It's a hedge. But don't brag to me that you won.
Yeah, I hear that.
Oh, look, I'm so smart. I won the bracket challenge. No, you didn't, because your other 3 brackets were dead last, you moron. That's all.
If I won $1 million in an Acura, I'm bragging them. I don't care. I mean,
great.
Yeah.
But you can only fill out one. I guess you get multiple email addresses.
See,
probably shouldn't have just told everybody that. Yeah, there's your hack. You want to fill out multiple brackets? Get multiple email addresses.
Mm-hmm.
mattmusso@gmail.com. MatthewMusso@gmail.com. Matthew1T
Well,
Musso.
I
MatthewMusso1@gmail.com.
I work here. I can't win the $1 million of the Acura.
Why not?
Can employees win?
Why not? I don't know.
Okay.
Go read all the
sure.
fine print. I don't know.
Probably not, but I mean.
Fill it out under your dad's name.
There we go. Now, dude, you're handing out just
Dad
hacks.
Musso.
You're
Mama
just
Scone.
handing out hacks.
Mama Scone at, I don't know, family members coming away. Whatever. Okay, it's after further review. We got to go to break. We'll come back. Huge weekend for two amazing people that I want to salute when we come back. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers. Oh, speaking of, okay, Thursday. First day of March Madness. Our lineup will be at Pluckers on Bluebonnet. So OTB will get the day started. Hunt will be there, and then AFR will be there as well. Hanny and Ott already had something else planned. It's all good, though. So start your day early. Steve Levy, my guy, the king of the wing, is going to open it up for people. Now, the kitchen's not going to be open, but even if I have to do it myself, I'll bring coffee and donuts for listeners that want to come watch OTB in the morning. And then, of course, Pluckers opens at 11, so when all the games are started, come by, eat wings, drink beer, spend the day. We'll have giveaways and prizes and all kind of ESPN swag and door prizes and cool stuff. So make plans to be with us on Thursday for the opening day of March Madness. If you're taking off of school or you're playing hooky at work and you need a place to go, set up shop and hang out with us all day at Pluckers on Bluebonnet this Thursday for the kickoff of March Madness. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Remember, it's Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour number one, the LSU softball team is playing in South Carolina right now. They opened up the series with a 9-1 win over the weekend, which landed Beth Torina her 600th career victory. Her players greeted her in the locker room afterwards with confetti, which was really cool to see. I've told you so many times over the years, my personal affinity for Beth. She's awesome, a great person, a great coach. And do you have the audio of this, Muse? Can you check to make sure? Because Beth does have a... Okay. Paulie, come off of it, please, then. Because I want to make sure that I can get the audio. Because I do want to... That's why. My apologies there. That's on me. Here we go. Because I wanted to... This LSU did post this video, and Beth did have this to say after she was in the locker room with her team celebrating number 600.
The speech is just that I didn't play in any of those 600 games, that you guys did all that. And the awesome women that wore the jerseys are the people that gave their heart and soul and everything in them to make that happen and to make all this happen. So it's just emotional thinking about all the women that did it, because I didn't play in one of those games. So it's been cool. Lindsay's been by my side in every single one of them, and this staff's been in the majority of them. So thanks. Y'all are awesome. You did it, not me. It's cool.
I wanted to have Beth on the show today, but their game today, they're playing a doubleheader. There was weather in South Carolina, so it got moved up a little bit. But we'll have her on the show soon enough. LSU's got a great one in Beth Torina. I think I've often said I think that's maybe the only good thing Joe Oliva did during his time in Baton Rouge was hire Beth Torina. And last year was a challenge, I know, and they just went through some growing pains with some youth, and it's paying dividends right now as they are really good, and they're going to be a contender. And I have no doubt that she will win the Women's College World Series before her time is done at LSU. I've made that prediction for a long time, and I believe it's going to happen. So, and no one will be more excited than me when it does happen. So, congrats to Beth Torina for win number 600 over the weekend of her career. And then also, how about Haley Bryant? I know we don't talk a ton of gymnastics here. It's a know your audience thing, right? Our primary demographic is men 25 to 54. That's not typically the demographic that's watching gym meets on a Friday night. I've also told you before that my family, my wife Erica, her sisters were gymnasts. I have nieces who are gymnasts, and so we're very much into the whole gym culture as a family, as I'm sure many of you are. And I love the gym meets. They're, 2 hours, fast, tons of energy, excitement. The athleticism was off the charts. And Haley Bryant did something this weekend that's never been done before in LSU history. She recorded 3 perfect tens in the same meet. She is now LSU's all-time leader in perfect tens. This was such a big deal that ESPN's, like the big mothership ESPN Twitter account, tweeted about it. She's magnificent and may very well be the greatest gymnast LSU's ever had. There was a short list of multi-time All-Americans like Susan Jackson. Recently, of course, you've had Ashley Natt come through here, who was magnificent during her time. Sarah Finnegan, and look, this is all because of Jay Clark. Jay Clark, Dee Bro was the coach for a long time, but really when Jay Clark came, is because of his recruiting prowess, is why they were able to bring in this elite level talent and are pushing toward the program's first ever national championship. It's no coincidence that when Jay Clark got here, they started winning dramatically more because he's brought in the talent that is just outpaced what Dee Bro did during her time in Baton Rouge. Dee was here a long time, but Jay is sort of poured gasoline on the fire that had been built. And Haley may very well end up being the greatest of all of them to come through here. And what she did on Friday night was magnificent and deserves so much credit and adulation for something. Look, man, when you do something that's never been done in the history of a program before, it's always noteworthy. So what a weekend it was all the way around, from LSU baseball superlatives, the softball team, which we talked about, the gymnastics teams, which is cruising here into the postseason as well. And then women's basketball, a 3 seed, which we'll talk about coming up a little bit more, as Kim Mulkey and her team some people think might be a bit underseeded, but if you look at the bracket, I think it shapes up really well for them to make a run, and they'll get the first 2 games here at the Maravich Center, so pulling hard for Kim Mulkey and her squad as well. So, man, a lot to be excited about over the week. It was a great weekend. Pels got thumped on Saturday, came back with a resounding win Sunday against Portland. No Dame for Portland, but we'll get to some of that here in a little bit. So a lot of NFL news as well that we'll continue to get through. If you're just joining us, the NFL's legal tampering period is now open before the start of free agency begins on Wednesday. David Onyemata is going to the Falcons. Shai Tuttle is going to Carolina. And the Saints are still looking around at re-signing some of their free agents, which we'll get to. Right after the top of the hour, some LSU NIL news. Don't you move.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Online at theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. This Saturday is the wearing of the green parade in Baton Rouge, and the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana will have a float in the wearing of the green parade. And rumor has it that a bald 40-year-old radio host might just be on that float as well. So if you're going to be at the wearing of the green parade, keep a lookout for that bald 40-year-old radio host who might just be on the float. But listen, if you want to look and feel like your younger self, they've got the unlock. Go to the nation's best aesthetic practice at the National Aesthetic Show in Las Vegas. It's the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, and they're right here in Baton Rouge. Right there in Bluebonnet near Perkins. They're on Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and you can always check out their deals, their menu of services online at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, online, theantiagingclinics.com.
I'm Michael Shingleton. Here's what we're working on for WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A teenager's dead, his brother seriously hurt after a shooting in Ascension Parish. This happened in Darrow. The sheriff's office identified the 15-year-old who was killed as Traylon Brown. His 16-year-old brother is in the hospital with serious injuries. What the sheriff's office is saying tonight. I'm Michael Shingleton from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
The best-kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Another quarterback domino has fallen. No, not that one. ESPN's Diana Rossini and Adam Schefter reporting Jimmy Garoppolo is signing with the Raiders. 3 years, $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed. Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels was Garoppolo's offensive coordinator in New England, and their familiarity will pay off for Vegas, says ESPN NFL front office insider Louis Riddick.
He's going to be one of those guys who, with the quick play-action passing game and attacking the middle of the field, getting the ball out quick, making great decisions, putting the ball in good locations, utilizing tight ends and backs out of the backfield. Also, obviously, the deep passing game component is going to be a big part in this offense because that's something that Devontae really does excel at.
Devontae adds in Raiders receiver Devontae Adams. Bears giving Bills linebacker Tremaine Edmonds 4 years, $72 million, $50 million guaranteed. 49ers with a big addition to their already vaunted defensive line. Schefter reports that they agreed on a 4-year, $84 million contract with Eagles defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. Falcons agreed with Bengals safety Jesse Bates III, 4 years, $65 million.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time you need parts for your car, don't call it quits. Go to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Is that Matt?
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Saints have agreed to terms with one of their free agents. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes. And a free agent wide receiver might just be walking on down the road. Again, that's coming up about 15 minutes. Let's hear more about from Derek Carr after his introductory press conference over the weekend. Brian Kelly has promoted Jordan Arcemont within the program. If you're not familiar, Jordan has been one of their really key off-field recruiting specialists. And he has now been promoted to Director of Player Development. Julie Boudouin, I believe, was the first that I saw on Twitter that had it. Jordan's title is now updated on the LSU website. And candidly, I interviewed Jordan this morning along with Jonathan Pixley from Matchpoint for the Rosters to Riches podcast. That episode will drop tomorrow. But again, the two changes, Wilson Alexander had it that Bob Diaco is now listed as a defensive analyst at LSU, and Julie had Jordan's promotion to Director of Player Development. So Jordan was working as sort of an off-field recruiter, now has been promoted. And the first thing I asked him on the podcast that we recorded today, again, the full pod will drop tomorrow. If you want to subscribe to it, however you get your podcast, just search Rosters to Riches, T-O, Rosters to Riches. It's the NIL podcast that we do that we drop weekly. Last week, John Ruiz, the billionaire Miami supporter, was our guest. But I asked Jordan, what exactly is the Director of Player Development?
Yeah, I think it's multifaceted, right? And with the new evolution of college football, it definitely is. You know, obviously, you hear player development in the title, right? Which I think is just that and pouring into those guys. You know, players come from a ton of different backgrounds, and when you get to college, sometimes it's the first time you're off on your own, you know. And I think the relationship with your coach is surely a great one, right? But sometimes you may need somebody else to go to than just your coach, you know. So with that development piece, man, and being there for those guys and being able to help them whenever times do get tough. And for me, I've always been passionate about that, having been through the trials and tribulations in my own life, right? So to get a chance to pour into young men and help them grow on and off the field, man, it's been cool.
Yeah, if you don't know Jordan's story, he shared some of that with us on the pod. He lost his father at a young age. He was raised by his mom, single mother, after his dad passed. Played football collegiately at Nichols. Had a series of injuries that sort of cost him his career. Got involved in recruiting. Worked at the University of Virginia in their football program for 3 years. Left UVA to do some business initiatives, and then ultimately was called back into college football by J.R. Belton to join Ed Ogeron's staff. And then when Ogeron was fired, Brian Kelly was hired. He retained Jordan Arsamon on staff as well. Who's just you learn the more you're around the program, the value of the support staff. We as fans and observers focus so much on the on-field, the coaches, the 10 on-field assistants, and that is so critical. I mean, that as we've just seen time and time again, look at special teams this past year as a great example of it. But we rightly focus so much on that. What we don't often focus on is the structure of the organization as a whole. And when you're talking about, $100 million annual, business, which is what LSU football is, and you talk about organizing personnel and roster management and recruiting and travel and everything that goes into it, the support staff are critical. And Jordan's one of those guys that very clearly is a rising star, as Ed hired him, Kelly retained him, and has now promoted him. But the purpose of the podcast, of course, is it's an NIL podcast, and Jordan is going to have a very key role in Bayou Traditions, which is the new LSU collective, which has been organized. There previously, LSU had a collective. Of course, we talked about this now with Brent Cunningham, who's been brought on to run Bayou Traditions, as Bayou Traditions has absorbed I believe it was the Go Collective or Go Initiative. So Bayou Traditions is LSU's collective that Jordan is going to be a big part of helping grow and develop that, and facilitating collective and interaction with the player, all the sort of stuff therein. So it was the big part of having him on the pod was to talk about that. But he did share something very interesting with us. Several months back, On3, if you remember, we did a story here where On3 had ranked the collectives. And one of the big things that stood out when we were talking about that at the time was the fact that there were several collectives that were paying essentially what amounted to, I don't want to say it this way, but like a base salary to every scholarship player. And what was really striking is it were places like Texas Tech and SMU, if you recall. Like, Texas Tech was paying like every scholarship football player something like $25,000. Here's the Spire Group from Tennessee, John Ruiz from Miami, that is the second most. The Fund from Texas A&M, Division Street at Oregon, Florida, Southern Cal, Ohio State. Here it is, the Matador Club at Texas Tech. This was part of that thing we talked about. So here it is. The Matador Club in mid-July signed 100 Texas Tech football players to a 1-year, $25,000 NIL contract. So every football player at Texas Tech got $25,000 through their collective. So this is why this is significant now. This is what Jordan Arsamon told us today on Rosters to Riches.
Our collective has signed our whole team in to $25,000 from a football perspective that they receive, which I think is different than many places, right? So just sort of proof from what you capitalize on, I think, from your scholarship and those other little things that you can, then plus that baseline $25,000, you see that you will be well taken care of, and then truly as you continue to build your brand and things like that, you can continue to capitalize.
He did clarify that I believe he clarified actually off there when we were finished, that the way they've broken it down is it's $12,500 per semester. So the $25,000 is spread over 2 semesters, and it's for the scholarship players. So all 85 LSU scholarship players are going to get $12,500 per semester from the collective. And the deliverables are, you've seen appearances like when LSU went to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank before last season. And he showed us some of the other stuff they're doing as far as working on promotional videos and different things that are the deliverables for the collective that are mandated. You can't just have pay for play. There has to be a deliverable. The student athlete has to do something in exchange for those funds. So you'll start to see more and more of that as the days and weeks come along. So anyway, exciting times as LSU is. I know what they say, and they say they aren't behind and weren't behind. But the fact of the matter is LSU was behind. They were very, very, very far behind. You had organization and fundraising efforts going on at other programs where you didn't have that at LSU. You had open arms from LSU, but you didn't have an organized structure and path forward. They have that now, and they're making headway, which is great to see. Okay, it's after further review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Of course, windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Tell you every day. Energy efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. We'll knock out a break. When we come back, let's hear a little more from Derek Carr as he was introduced on Saturday as the Saints' new starting quarterback after he officially signed his deal, and two other free agent tidbits. One, the Saints signing one of their free agents. Another pass catcher they've decided might be parting ways. We'll discuss that when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
Buy where the pros buy. Say it every day when we talk about New Orleans flooring. At New Orleans Flooring, they're always going to give you the best price. The differentiator is they've got all the flooring brands that you know, all the name brands, all the everything that everybody else has. But New Orleans Flooring keeps more than 1 million square foot of product in stock. Because they keep it in stock, they cut out the middleman. So you get those savings. In some instances, you're talking about 40% less than other retailers. Why would you go anywhere else? And if that's not enough, New Orleans Flooring is giving you a tax-free March. They're taking care of the tax in March. You're getting an even better discount. It's at New Orleans Flooring. Metairie and Airline Highway in Prairieville, just past the Walmart. Go to NOLAflooring.com. NOLAflooring.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Electricity is all around us, and our families.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
You always text the show on the 225-396-4400. Brad Newman sent a text, and Matt, sorry I missed the beginning of the show. Did you cover the Will Wade news? Was curious your take. I've got the Will Wade news on the rundown for actually 1 hour from right now at 5:15 Central. But if you missed it, Will Wade was hired and introduced today as the McNeese State head coach. I do have a lot of thoughts on it. But we'll play this. I mean, Will Wade was in no uncertain terms. As a matter of fact, let me just play I'll play the video here. I know Cobble put it on his Twitter. Will Wade he never, ever minces words, which I love, by the way. One of the reasons that we all love and loved Will Wade when he was here. But I had it, and now I can't find it. Here it is. Yep. Okay. Sorry. Here's courtesy of Michael Cobble over at WBRZ Channel 2. Here was Will Wade today's introductory press conference at McNeese.
Next year, we're going to be ready to roll. Period. All right. This is not. I'm not coming in here talking about some. We're not talking about some major rebuild or any of that stuff. Like, we expect to win and compete at the top of the Southland next year. Point blank. Period. That's what we're going to do. So, I mean, I want to be very clear about that. But this program needs a rebirth. This area needs to continue its rebirth from the Hurricanes. It was very humbling. I was here with our team after the Hurricanes hit, and we did a little bit of community service when I was down the road at LSU. And to come back and to see the progress that's made and to see the progress that still needs to be made. This area needs a rebirth. And my career needs a rebirth. After everything that's gone on, my career needs a rebirth. And so let's be honest, right? Next year.
Let's just be honest. Always brutally honest. But he's right. So I do want to get some thoughts. I think it's great for McNeese. I'm very happy for Will personally. I like Will. I loved him when he was the coach at LSU. Loved the bravado. I loved that he went after Bob Marlin. You've been living under a rock. The whole thing. I loved it. I mean, I loved his energy. We all did. I mean, I thought he was great for LSU basketball. Hated that it happened the way it did. I'll pull for him at McNeese. I don't think Will Wade at McNeese is in any way a threat to LSU because they're just not recruiting the same athlete. They're just playing a different game. But I do think it does complicate things for Matt McMahon because now the guy who was here, who's no longer here, is just down the road, and you can kind of look longingly if things keep going badly here, and he turns them around in a hurry. So I think it complicates things for Matt McMahon. But congrats to Will Wade. I'm very hopeful that this does signal an end of all of that years-long nonsense with the NCAA, and now Will and LSU can both move on. All right, so Will Wade today introduced at McNeese. Thanks for the question. You can always text us in the 225. Again, 396-4400, 396-4400. Let's see. I'm sorry. And by the way, earlier today, we were talking about all the run rules, and some of you texted me to clarify. We're talking about that LSU's had 7 run rule games already, 7 mercy rule. And so we're talking about the 6 outs that LSU hasn't had to get over 7 games. So I was saying that's amounts to 42 outs. I think I misspoke and said innings. Clearly not 40, Clearly not 42 innings, but 42 outs. So but anyway, so all those who texted me to clarify, yes, I'm I'm clear that it's not 42 innings.
Right. We divide that number by 3, 42. Yes. That gets your innings, right? Something like that. I don't know. I'm bad at
It's
math
42
too.
outs.
Right.
So
So there's
6
3 outs in an inning.
So 6 outs, 7 games, 42 outs. I just mistakenly said 42 innings instead of outs. That's all. So anyway. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Derek Carr was introduced to the New Orleans Saints over the weekend. I'm very interested. Could you play number 1, please? Derek Carr, his feelings coming to New Orleans.
This really is a dream come true moment for me, and the warmth and the love that I felt, from the city of New Orleans, Mrs. Benson, Mickey, DA, the whole organization, the whole city has been unbelievable.
Now, one of the really interesting questions moving forward with Carr now in tow is what happens with Michael Thomas. Because Michael Thomas, we all know, when the Carr news broke last Monday, tweeted thank you, Jesus. There's certainly been a lot of reports about the possibility of Michael Thomas remaining in New Orleans under a new contract. We all know he will not be under his former contract. There's just no chance. The Saints aren't going to pay him the roster bonus he would be due at the start of the league year. So tear that up, sign him to a new deal. If it works out, great. Here was Derek Carr's thoughts on the possibility of Michael Thomas returning to the Saints and his relationship with the Saints wide receiver.
In the recent has been the most we've talked. Obviously, as players, we know each other and have a respect and all those kind of things, right? And you have a lot of those relationships throughout the year. But me and Mike, we've gotten close through this process and talking. And the first time I talked to him on the phone, I don't think he wanted me to get off the phone. I really enjoyed talking to him. And I told Mickey, I was like, you talk to Mike Thomas, and you feel like you two could go out there and face the world. I told my wife when I got off the phone, and she was like, why are you smiling? I was like, I love this guy. He's so competitive. And I think just the energy that he brings, it would be very exciting times to throw him the football for sure. So when he started recruiting and talking to me and all that, he wouldn't even try and recruit me. He's just like, hey, when are we getting to work? We're wasting time. Time's ticking. And I was like, yeah, I feel the same way. We'll get there. But, I think that our relationship has grown through this process, and I look forward to hopefully making that relationship grow even stronger.
That certainly sounds like a guy who is intended on being back in New Orleans next year. And I want to be clear. I am perfectly fine with Michael Thomas being in New Orleans next year. I'm not okay with Michael Thomas being in New Orleans under his former contract. We all understand that. And that's just not, after the way they restructured it, that's just not a realistic possibility. But if you want to tear that thing up and sign a new deal, an incentive-laden deal, okay, I'm good with that. And I don't even need Michael Thomas to be my number 1. I just need him to be available and productive. I got my number 1 with Chris Olave. But if Thomas can be my number 2 or number 3, okay, great. Now, how the rest of that room shakes out will be interesting to see. We did see this news. It was Jeremy Fowler from ESPN who had it first, that the Saints are not going to tender Marquez Callaway. So, Marquez Callaway, it's an interesting situation because 2 seasons ago, when Thomas was injured and everything went wrong for you, Marquez Callaway, as an undrafted rookie free agent, became your number 1 wide receiver. In 2021, Callaway had 698 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns, becoming your leading receiver. But Fowler had the news. The Saints not expected to tender wide receiver Marquez Callaway. Returning to New Orleans is still an option, but he'll hit unrestricted free agency. Now, to be clear, a restricted free agent tender would cost a fully guaranteed $2.627 million against the cap this year. So basically, if they tendered Callaway, he would be guaranteed a minimum of $2.6 million. The Saints, I think, are effectively looking at this saying, yeah, we think we can get you for less than that. Now, if you want to go hit free agency and there's a bigger market for you, cool. Or maybe you sign into a multi-year deal that's structured such that it makes sense for New Orleans to where a restricted free agent tender doesn't. Now, the challenge with this is that if Marquez Callaway hits unrestricted free agency and does not return to New Orleans, you're not going to get anything for him, not even a compensatory draft pick if you sign somewhere else. So that's why that would be the benefit of tendering him. So now the Saints go into this offseason right now where you've got Chris Olave and a whole lot of question marks. Jarvis Landry is going to hit free agency, and it certainly doesn't seem like the Saints are interested in re-signing Jarvis. Michael Thomas could be back, but at what deal? Marquez Callaway could be back, but at what deal? You see the point we're getting at here? Now you're looking at the guys you do have under contract, which are Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, who had a very nice rookie year, Traquan Smith, gagged me with a sweaty tube sock, Kirk Merritt, Kawan Baker, and Keith Kirkwood. Those are the receivers you have under contract. You've got to get somebody competent with production in their career on this roster. So you're going to have to go find somebody in veteran free agency. Maybe it's re-signing Marquez Callaway and Michael Thomas, to where Thomas maybe is your 2, Callaway's your 3. Rashid Shaheed could be your 4, or maybe Shaheed has a blow-up year and moves up that. In whatever way I could say, those as your 4 receivers, your first 4, and then maybe one of the other guys, if it's Baker or Kirkwood or Merritt or someone like that, maybe Traquan because they seem to love him. I don't know why. But there's your 5. But you've got to address receiver in free agency. Thomas and Callaway could potentially be those guys, but otherwise you're looking somewhere in free agency to spend on receiver. A place the Saints have already spent now that we know is at tight end. And over the weekend, you probably saw the news, but Juwan Johnson has signed a 2-year contract extension with the New Orleans Saints. That is phenomenal news. I love what Juwan Johnson means. By the way, his agent, AJ Vaynerchuk from Vayner Sports, tweeted the news first. Juwan and his wife shared the news on social media as well, but AJ Vaynerchuk tweeted congratulations to Juwan Johnson on his 2-year deal for 2023 and 2024. So Juwan Johnson's back in New Orleans. My hope for Juwan is that with Derek Carr, he's able to. I don't know if he's going to achieve the level of production that Darren Waller did, but that has to be the idea, right? Is you've got this big target who's a really good pass-catching tight end who looks more like a receiver than a traditional tight end, but can be productive. So Juwan Johnson, this past year, was your second leading receiver. Chris Olave was your leading receiver. Juwan Johnson was your second leading pass catcher. 65 receptions for 508 yards. Now, Kamara had more receptions, but fewer yards. If you're just going by yards. Olave had 1,042. Juwan Johnson was second on the team. And it's no secret that for as long as this era of Saints football has existed, they have prioritized a pass-catching tight end. Go back to Jeremy Shockey. From Shockey, we know it was Jimmy Graham. That ended as it did with the trade to Seattle. And the Saints have been struggling to find that guy ever since. They spent big on Kobe Fleener from the Colts in free agency. Didn't work out. They brought back Ben Watson. He was just late in his career, but was obviously a productive player. They brought in Jared Cook. God bless Jared Cook. He essentially cost Drew Brees his career with the fumble in the divisional round playoff game against Tampa. They drafted Adam Troutman, and Troutman at times has shown flashes. It just hasn't materialized. And then there's Juwan Johnson, the guy who they've been searching for. Might well be this guy who was at Penn State and then Oregon as a big-bodied receiver who they put on some weight, turned him into a tight end, and he might just be that perfect flex, big-bodied tight end. And they're investing 2 more years into him. And if, as a young guy like he is, if Juwan Johnson is able to produce over the next 2 seasons, or even after this year, maybe you tear up that contract and sign him to a longer-term deal. But you're talking about a guy who's 26 years old, man. Who's 26 years old, who's exactly the productive receiver you've been looking for in that tight end spot. Now you bring in a guy like Carr, who has maximized a pass-catching tight end in Darren Waller, and then let us not forget Foster Moreau as well. I like it a lot. I like bringing back Juwan Johnson an awful lot because it's a relatively low cost for a potential big gain and big payoff if he's able to produce and increase his production over the next 2 years. So Marquez Callaway, Saints will not extend a restricted free agent tender. He'll become an unrestricted free agent, could return to New Orleans. But then, of course, Juwan Johnson has signed a 2-year deal with New Orleans, so he'll be back with the Saints, and I love that decision. Okay, you can always weigh in. Email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona, jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. All right, we'll knock out a quick break. Pelicans split back-to-backs over the weekend. Get a quick thought on the Pels. We'll reset that. Let's hear from Willie Green. I do also want to talk a little bit about, let's hear from Kim Balke as the Lady Tigers, a 3 seed in the big dance, but I really like their draw. We'll get to some of that when we come back as well. And Ben McDonald, 30 minutes from right now, talking some LSU baseball. Glad you're hanging out on a Monday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Why in the world, if you are looking for a realtor, why in the world would you call anyone other than Darren James? The Wall Street Journal every year puts out its list of the top 1,000 realtors in America. It's the Real Trends list. And every year, Darren James is in the top 1% of realtors in America. I love sharing these reviews. Teresa Zito. Darren did an amazing job selling our home. He kept us informed every step of the way. He's extremely knowledgeable, helpful. Anytime we had a question, the advertising he does for your home is over and above. They kept us constantly updated on the closing, so we had no surprises. If you need to sell your home, why would you call anyone other than a realtor that sells more homes than anyone? Call Darren James. Get your home sold.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I thought
We started the game with a different mindset, a different force. Our guys care. The OKC game, we didn't start with the same mentality. And tonight, we climbed into guys right away, defensively, picking up 94 feet, scrappy, getting deflections, getting steals, rebounding the ball, and it energized everything we did because now we're playing downhill, moving the basketball, and that's what it takes for us.
I mean, undeniably, Willie Green, by the way, Pels absolutely blew out Portland on Sunday night. It's hard to say, though, our guys care. When a night before, they didn't care. The Pelicans on Saturday night got run on their floor by OKC. So maybe they care, but they care selectively? Is that a good way to put it? Trey Murphy was awesome. Had 41 points. Hit 9 threes in the ball game. I'm so glad the Pels were on last night because it kept me from watching the stupid Oscars. I mean, I wasn't going to watch the Oscars anyway, but at least I had an excuse not to watch the stupid Oscars. And it was fun, man. They were bombs away right out the chute and had a 33-point first quarter, and they never let up. Here was Willie Green on the night Trey Murphy had.
Trey was incredible. He's a shot maker, and he's having an unbelievable year. So I'm extremely proud of him and what he's doing, the hard work that he's putting in with Coach Brewer. And, you know, tonight was an example of the work that they put in.
41 points. As we mentioned, he made 9 threes, shot 65% from the floor. Earlier this year, C.J. McCollum had that great game where he made 11 threes, which set the franchise record. But Trey Murphy was sensational. I mean, he was just banging threes all night. It was so fun to watch. I don't like their Navy uniforms, though. I don't like the Pelicans' Navy unis. I love the whites and I love the reds, but the navies are. Are you a fan? Are you nodding your agreement?
I'm not in agreement. They're the third ranked uniform that they have. I would actually put them above the cities this year, but
interesting.
It was too much. It was too much purple.
I actually like. Okay, let me rephrase. For what they are, I like them this year better than what they've done in the past.
Oh, see, I thought last year's were beautiful. The Mardi Gras uniforms last year were white with the 3 straw was perfect. Good amount of accent and everything. But yeah, I mean, the reds are first, then the whites.
The reds are so good.
They should just wear them every game. Like, it would not get old. It would not get watered down if they wore them literally every game. Road, home, don't care.
I like the Lakers when the Lakers wear gold.
Yeah.
Lakers only later. Well, they wore purple too, but they later introduced the whites. But anyway.
The whites are good. The Lakers whites are really good.
Stick with the gold. So the Pels lose on Saturday. They come back and win on Sunday. They're 33-35. They're tied with the aforementioned Lakers in the 11th spot. So, I'm at this point where I am going to be happy when they win. I'm going to enjoy watching them play in a vacuum, like watching Trey Murphy play yesterday was a lot of fun. It is worth mentioning Dame didn't play for Portland, so you kind of throw up a little asterisk next to that. No BI for the Pels. That's also fair to mention. We'll see if they can get him back soon. But your next time out, you're playing the Lakers, and you're tied with the Lakers presently, 1 spot out of the play-in. So you've got there are 4 teams that all have the same record. The Jazz in the 9 seed, the Thunder in the 10, and then the Lakers and the Pelicans are all at 33 and 35. So tiebreakers are what are differentiating right now. But you're the Pels, and keep running through this. I mean, the West is it's such a logjam right now. You've got, if you're the Pels, you're looking there going, man, you're outside of the play-in, but you're 2 games behind Golden State to be the 6th seed. And then you're not even in the play-in, you're in the playoffs. So it's so conflicting because it's just like the Saints season. Mathematically, you're right there. I mean, you can stare at it. And all throughout the Saints season, we had this conversation. Hey, just get in. Just get in. Get in the playoffs. Just get in the playoffs. You never know what can happen. Look at the Giants, 9-7, get in the playoffs, win the Super Bowl, beat the 18-0 Patriots. I mean, just get in. And mathematically, you're there. You're still alive, but you know, even if you get in, it's not going to go well for your team. And that's how I feel about the Pels right now. Mathematically, everything's right there. I just can't allow myself to be emotionally vulnerable with this team. Not the franchise, but this version of the Pelicans. They've let me down too much this year. I think they've let a lot of people down this year because there were increased expectations. They were living up to them early, and it's not fair to say Zion's injury is to blame because we've been through this. They played that stretch run last year with this same core of players without Zion, and they were magnificent and fun to watch down the stretch and winning the play-in and pushing Phoenix and all that stuff. And they're just not right now. But if you look ahead at what New Orleans has, their opportunity is very squarely right in front of them. When you look at the schedule ahead, and we've talked about how they have one of the easiest remaining schedules in the NBA. You get a home game against the Lakers tomorrow. If you win that, obviously you leapfrog LA. And then after that, you've got back-to-back games Friday, Sunday at Houston, and then you play Houston twice, and then you're home against San Antonio. After the Lakers, if you on your home floor, the next three that you get are, and then Charlotte's at home as well. So the next four after that are all winnable, 2 of them at home, and the 2 on the road against the worst team in the West. So if you win your next 5, you beat the Lakers, and then beat Houston, San Antonio, and Charlotte, you're squarely in the mix going through the run. And then you've got a 4-game road swing against the Clippers, Portland, Golden State, Denver. You're home against the Clippers, Sacramento, Memphis, and the Knicks, and then you're at Minnesota to wrap it up. It's there for you. Mathematically, it is there for you, and this next 5-game stretch is right there. But I feel like I've said that too many times before, and we've opened ourselves up and let ourselves get optimistic, and they've let us down. So it's like, man, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I feel like that's where I am with this team. So I'll watch them. I'll pull for them. I'll hope to be wrong, but I just believe we've seen it too much with this team right now to where the ability to be consistent, to win the games you're supposed to win, has just not been there. It's hard to bank on them. All right, it's after further review. Brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA, of course. And the madness is here. If you're ready for the underdogs, the upsets, the unbelievable action, you can do it all at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Biggest tournament in college basketball is here, and right now, new customers, you can bet just $5 on college hoops and get $200 in free bets instantly. Again, let me say this again. NCAA tournaments here, March Madness, bet just $5 on a college basketball game. They'll give you $200 in free bets instantly. So maybe you've been using another app, another platform, and you've been on the fence. Here's your chance to jump on a DraftKings, even if you use another one, just to get $200 in free bets. Make a $5 bet on a college basketball game instantly, whether you win or lose. Instantly, they'll give you $200 in free bets, but you got to use the promo code Baton Rouge. One word, Baton Rouge. Use the promo code Baton Rouge, and all customers can get a no-sweat bet during round 1 and 2 of the tournament. You got to opt in. Again, a no-sweat bet during round 1 and 2 of the tournament. So pick your favorite game, whichever one you want to bet. Bet a 16 against a 1. Bet whatever you want. Bet the biggest upset if you want. And bet a 15 to beat a 2. It's a no-sweat bet. If you hit, huge payoff. If not, no worries. You get that money back. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers bet $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly, win or lose, only with the Sportsbook, only the DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Baton Rouge. Okay, here comes the big long disclaimer. And Muse is going to record it so we can play it back later. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana, select parishes only. Bonus issued as free bets. Opt-in required. 1 free bet issued based on amount of initial losing college basketball bet. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.com. Terms at sportsbook. I gotta have to redo it, Muse. Sorry. I tried to make it through. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball. Terms, licensing partner, Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Ben McDonald in 15 minutes from right now. Here was Kim Mulkey, by the way, on LSU getting the number 3 seed, which some people thought maybe they're underseeded. It's going to love the draw. Here was Kim Mulkey on the 3 seed.
You know, we're 3 seed. The 2 seed is Utah. Flip a coin. We could have been the 2. They could have been the 3. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to play good teams along the way. The first most important thing is that we get to host. we get to host. And I know how loud it was in here when we hosted last year. I know how much the people were wanting seats, and our fans need to understand each institution gets a certain number of seats. So be patient. Don't get aggravated if you don't have your normal seats. It is all about matchups.
And by the way, can you play the other one as well? LSU's draw, I really like it a lot.
I think the other two that will be here, Michigan, UNLV, I know a lot about Michigan. I think the world of Kim, their coach. I've played her in the playoffs many times. Don't know much at all about UNLV. We'll have to study. I know what I've read about how good she has done since she's been there, and what I know was from the game watching Hawaii yesterday.
LSU plays Hawaii Friday. That's their round one game. It's at the Maravich Center, 4:30 tip. And it's on ESPN2. Of course, you'll be able to hear it on our sister station, Talk 107.3 FM. But LSU, Hawaii, round one Friday at the Maravich Center, 4:30. Tickets are on sale now for rounds 1 and 2 at the Maravich Center with the Lady Tigers hosting. All right, it's after further review. Quick break. When we come back, Muse will have Tigers in the pros. Don't you move.
AFR.
I just got a text. Literally while we were sitting here. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is National Pie Day. And Rouse's has a one-day hot price of $3.14 for all of their half pies. I get it. $3.14. You get it? It's Pie Day. Like pie, $3.14. I get it! March 14th, 314 pie, 3.14. What is it? 14 repeating, whatever.
Did you really not know that? Or
I didn't. It didn't register right away.
Okay, wow.
It didn't register right, but tomorrow is Pie Day. I'm so bad
You
at math.
like puns.
I love it. And so you get $3.14 half pies. Apple, blueberry, cherry, pecan, chocolate pecan. Go get your favorite pie at Rouse's tomorrow, Tuesday. It's Pie Day. Muse, we're going to Rouse's. It's Pie Day. We're going to get pies.
At Corville Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And as always, you will never pay over MSRP. We also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corville Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Michael Shingleton. Here's what we're working on for WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A teenager's dead, his brother seriously hurt after a shooting in Ascension Parish. This happened in Darrow. The sheriff's office identified the 15-year-old who was killed as Traylon Brown. His 16-year-old brother is in the hospital with serious injuries. What the sheriff's office is saying tonight. I'm Michael Shingleton from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call 364-1007 and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Ben McDonald in 10 minutes. We'll talk some LSU baseball. Right now, Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Patrick Peterson is on the move from Minnesota. He is now in agreement with a 2-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam Schefter had the news. He reported as well that the deal falls in line with Patrick Peterson's wishes of wanting to play 2 more seasons in the National Football League. It's been a great career so far for Patrick Peterson, involving 8 Pro Bowls. So
look, he had a Shefty there had a video with. He's had him on the Patrick Peterson podcast.
How about that?
Huh.
So there you go. Pat Pete now, well, not now, but when he can sign, will be a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. Further NFL news: Daniel Popper. He covers great name Popper. Popper covers the Chargers for The Athletic, and he reported earlier today that Los Angeles is not expected to tender defensive lineman Braden Fehoko per a source.
Okay.
Fehoko was a restricted free agent. Now we'll get to test the open market.
All right.
NBA action last night. Pels played the Blazers. They saw Trendon Watford up close and personal. Really nice night for Trendon Watford, stuffing the stat sheet. 10 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, and 2 steals. All in 23 minutes of play, shot 5 of 8 from the field. Pels got the big win, 127-110.
He played well. It was good to see him. Like watching the game last night, he had a beautiful Euro step in the lane, right in. Was it on Jonas? I think it was on Jonas. Beautiful.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Jonas is normally down there. Kramer Robertson. How about this day for Kramer Robertson yesterday in spring training? Got the start at second base for the Cardinals.
Shout out. Let's go.
Went 2 for 3.
All right.
With a double and a homer.
Okay.
2 RBI, runs scored, and he drew a walk. So he was on base 3 times.
Let's go.
Out of 3, he only had 3 official plate appearances.
LFG.
But, really solid. 308 the average so far for Kramer in the spring. He's slugging .615. Josh Smith also had a massive day. Got the start for the Rangers at shortstop.
LFG.
Went 2 for 3.
LFG.
With a double.
LFG.
Scored 3 runs.
LFG.
And drove in another. He's hitting .304 in the spring.
That's how we do at 855 Hearthstone Drive, Muse. What you know about that, Muse? Hanging banners left and right, son.
I mean,
let's go.
I don't know a lot about it, but I heard Terrio found out plenty about it earlier over the weekend.
We're going to get to that. You better believe we're getting to that there, friend.
Alex Lang. We'll wrap up with Alex Lang. No, he is from Lisa, Missouri.
Yeah, no.
And it was the worst outing of the spring for him so far. Our guy didn't record an out, gave up 3 earned, walked 3, got to find the zone. Did give up another his first home run of the spring as well. Raised the ERA up to 9, but he'll bounce back, and he'll be a big part of the Tigers season. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. That's LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know where to find them, online or 2 locations in Baton Rouge Corporate, in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. Gentlemen, if you are thinking of popping the question, there's nowhere else to go. Go to the place that's helped Baton Rouge get engaged for more than 30 years, where you're going to get the highest quality diamonds, sure to thrill her. And no matter your budget, you're always going to get the Lee Michaels experience. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all. God, it's been a busy show. Already. This is what I told. Like we've had no guests. We got Ben McDonald coming up in 6 minutes. So like right after SportsCenter, Ben McDonald's going to be here, and looking forward to talking to Big Ben as always. One of the things I want to talk to Ben about is we alluded to it earlier. LSU has played 7 run rule games already, 7 mercy rule games. So they have had, it's a lot of innings of work that your bullpen is not getting. And back in the late 80s and throughout the 80s, the SEC played a lot of 7-inning doubleheaders on SEC weekends. So I want Ben's thoughts on that. If that's something to concern or how you manage that. We're going to get to that with Ben coming up after the top of the hour. How in the world, if he were pitching against this lineup, what would he do? I mean, I'm sure he would just throw 100-mile-an-hour gas because that's what Ben McDonald did. But still looking forward to his answers. Ben McDonald joins us right after SportsCenter. Hour 3 of AFR is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, home of the Charlie's Dozen. That's a dozen benefits extended to your vehicle whenever you buy tires over at Shawbills. So get to the website at ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com. There's just nothing like it, man. They got their price match guarantee over at Shawbills. So not only do you get the expertise and quality that you trust, the hometown service you deserve, but the tires that are at prices that your wallet's going to love. Every tire purchase from any of their locations comes with that price match guarantee. If you find a lower tire price anywhere else, all you got to do is let them know, and they will give you that price match guarantee on your tire purchase. That's at Shawbills. Also, you get the Charlie's Dozen package, which gives you the best value at the most competitive price. It's at Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Go to ShawBillsTire.com to learn more, to schedule service, to shop tires. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Raiders filled a quarterback need a couple of weeks after releasing Derek Carr, who then signed with the Saints. Vegas agreed to a 3-year deal with Jimmy Garoppolo, according to ESPN's Diana Rossini and Adam Schefter. 3 years, $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed. Solid addition by the Raiders with Jimmy G, believes ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
They could make the playoffs. You know, they were in 9 one-score games a year ago, and Jimmy G's 40-17 as a starter, led the NFL over the last 3 years at 8.3 yards per attempt. I'm a big Jimmy G fan. I think he'll do great with Josh McDaniels.
Mike Tannenbaum on Canty and Carlin. McDaniels was Garoppolo's offensive coordinator in New England. Schefter also reports the Bears agreed with Bills linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. 4 years, $72 million, $50 million guaranteed. Falcons agreed with Bengals safety Jesse Bates III, 4 years, $65 million. 49ers agreed with quarterback Sam Darnold on a 1-year deal, giving them quarterback depth. Quarterback Patrick Peterson agreeing on a 2-year deal with the Steelers. NBA Maverick stars Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, both out tonight against the Grizzlies with injuries. Coverage in 1 hour on ESPN Radio and ESPN TV.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier to help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. LSU baseball continued its romp here in pre-conference play. They're 15-1. They've won 10 straight games. They are just annihilating everybody. That is 7 run rule victories already. Ben McDonald was on the call this weekend along with Lynn Rollins out at the box. He's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Now, Ben, we always appreciate it, man. How are you?
Anytime. I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great, man. I was asked a lot this weekend a question, and I don't really have a good answer for it, so I'll ask you. Does this LSU baseball team have any weaknesses right now?
If you had to cherry pick one thing, I would say strikeouts are a little bit alarming from an offensive standpoint. If you look across the SEC, LSU strikes out just about as much as anybody within the league. Maybe not quite at the top. That'd be the only alarming thing. The second alarming thing I would say to you would be stolen bases. LSU is dead last in the league in stolen bases. And so that would be a little bit of a concern for me when you face top-end pitching like a Chase Dolander, who could be the first pick in the country at Tennessee. They'll see him in about 3 weeks. You know, he could strike out a lot of guys, and LSU has not shown me the ability yet to be able to steal some bases when they need to or play small ball when they need to. I think it's in the bag for them to be able to do that. But when you start facing elite pitching staffs, like when you see Tennessee and some of the others, that could be a concern. How do you generate runs? Now, the good news for LSU is obviously they're like a big heavyweight boxer, right? They got that knockout punch. That knockout punch is they can blow the ball out of the ballpark in just one swing after a base hit or a walk or something, and it's a 2 or 3 run homer, which we saw a lot of this weekend. So that would be cherry picking a couple things that concern me a little bit about this offense. But having said that, it's the most physical offense I've seen in many, many years at LSU. It is top to bottom. There's no resting spots in this offense for a pitcher to be able to go to. to say, okay, well, I'm down towards the bottom of the lineup now. I can rest a little bit, just make some pitches. LSU doesn't give you that luxury, because you guys got guys hitting down at the bottom of that lineup, and you talk about, Jordan Thompson's hitting it, Brady Joe Bear's hitting it down towards the bottom. And of course, the freshman Jarrett Jones has been unbelievable. He's hitting the 7 hole right now.
Ben, they've hit 32 homers. Florida's leading the conference right now. Florida and South Carolina with 45 each. Was having this conversation last week with Kendall Rogers, our buddy from D1 Baseball. To what do you attribute the power surge in college baseball right now?
It's the balls. I mean, the NCAA won't tell us the truth, but there's no doubt in my mind the balls are amped, and they started being amped, I thought, last year. Look, I'm not taking anything away from the hitters. The hitters are big and they're physical, but the balls are flying out of the ballpark. It started last year like we had. I'll give you an idea. South Carolina hit 58 home runs last year in 55 games. South Carolina right now, as you mentioned, has 45 home runs in just 17 games. So they're just 10 homers away from what they hit the entire season last year. Now, they are a better team. I will give you that. They're not that much better, though, right? I mean, they're on a pace right now to hit, 150 homers or something, which would set the all-time mark, I believe, or be close to that LSU mark they set many years ago. So, yeah, but look, the balls are amped a little bit right now. The balls are flying really good. I know it's been a little bit warmer across the Southeast and maybe in the Midwest than what it typically is for the month of February and here in the March, and maybe that has something to do with the balls jumping a little bit. But all in all, I felt like we were having this conversation last year going, wait a minute now. We got guys banging the ball out of the ballpark. When you start to see the little guys, and I don't mean nothing against little guys, but when you see the little guys start to hit out opposite field, something's going on, And so, but look across the league. I mean, there is 6 SEC schools right now that are averaging 10 or more runs per game. 6. We didn't have one do it last year. Not one SEC school averaged. Tennessee was the best at 9 point something last year. We got 6 over 10 right now. Now, I'll tell you this. Obviously, ERAs are about to go up, and batting averages are about to go down because we're about to get into conference play. So that number will, in some ways, start to correct itself. But still, it's been a very, very offensive, pre-SEC schedule, if you will.
That's a really good segue to talk about pitching. Ben McDonald is our guest. We saw Thatcher Hurd go into the weekend rotation for the first time. Ben, I'm assuming that was always Jay Johnson's plan, was to sort of manipulate that first month to creep Hurd toward the weekend rotation. If LSU sets it up, Skeens, Floyd, Hurd, is that as good a rotation as any in the SEC?
I think it's right there towards the top. I still like Tennessee just because of the experience. You got Dolander, Beam, and Burns, who were all 3 in their weekend rotation last year for Tennessee. They had the best pitching staff in the country, and they are number 1 in the SEC when it comes to ERA right now. I think LSU is number 2. So I think Tennessee's 2.17, LSU 2.42. So Tennessee may have a little bit better rotation, but it's really picking hairs, if you will, in some ways. But that's an experienced staff. All 3 of those guys at Tennessee were in the weekend rotation last year. Skeens has been unbelievable. Thatcher Hurd, who was everybody forgets about Hurd, but he was the number 1 rated right-handed pitcher coming out of the state of California a couple of years ago. That's a mouthful in itself. And he's just now starting to come into his own in some ways. He had a little bit of a rough start, his very first start against Southern University. But since then, look, his last 3 starts, he's not allowed to run. Ty Floyd, I think Jay wanted Ty Floyd to be the closer for him because he's got that elite high-seam fastball. He just spins it really good. But, when Grant Taylor went down, about 3 or 4 weeks ago and he had Tommy John surgery, going to be out for the year, he was going to be a weekend rotation guy. I think Ty Floyd got elevated into that role, and he's quite capable. He's come a long way. Wes Johnson has really worked hard with him on his off-speed stuff. And he's always had a great fastball for the last 2 years, but never really showed you a consistent breaking ball or a changeup. Well, he's starting to show me that now. So I think he's going to do great in that weekend rotation. The question you have now is, okay, who's going to be the closer? Like, if it gets down to a 1-run game in the 9th inning, I guess it's going to be Christian Little most probably. Nate Ackenhausen has been really good, too, towards the back end. There's some pieces down there for sure. They can pick you up a save or 2 towards the back end as well.
Ben, one of the reasons maybe we don't have all the answers as far as the bullpen is, we were discussing this before you came on, LSU's had 7 mercy rule games which means that's 14 innings, that 42 outs that this bullpen hasn't had to record is, do you get, I'll use this word loosely, just concerned about the lack of opportunity, just that these guys aren't getting work in the bullpen?
Yeah, 100%. I see both sides of it, right? If I'm on the wrong end of that, especially in conference play, I don't want to burn my arm. In other words, if I get just boat raced in game one, I don't want to just go burn all my arms to finish the game, right? I want to keep as many bullets in my belt as I can to try to win game 2 and game 3 of an SEC weekend. So I see that side of it. On the other side of it, if I'm the winning side of it, yeah, especially early in pre-SEC schedule, I want to get as many guys some reps where I can look at those guys in real game-type situations to try to evaluate the talent that I have, to try to set up my role towards the back end, and even get some of my younger guys some very valuable at-bats along the way. We saw Jay yesterday start to substitute in the 4th inning yesterday because he had a feeling that this might happen again. So he's getting guys into the game a little bit quicker than what he normally would just to get some guys some at-bats. Like Alex Milazzo came in pretty early yesterday in that catcher's role. So, I see both sides of it. I think it's a good thing in some ways because you do save some pitching. But when you're trying to evaluate talent, and, we knew this about Jay, right? This was a big concern of yours and mine. Everybody was like, how do you keep everybody happy with the talent that you have now? How do you keep the boat afloat, if you will, and keep everybody on the same page? I think Jay's done a wonderful job at that. His communication has been outstanding. But, look, there's always going to be some guys that could be starting anywhere else in the country that's on the bench for LSU right now. And that's a tough pill for some of these kids to swallow. But everything I keep hearing is everybody's on the same page. Omaha is the goal this year. That's where they want to be. Jay said he wanted to take LSU and get them right back to the top of college baseball where they were 6 or 7 years ago. That was his goal when he took the job. He's been able to do that so far, but we're going to find out just how good LSU is these next 3 weekends.
Ben, one more about the bullpen. So I went to go see how many times in LSU's history they've had this many mercy rule games. Like, I spent way too much time yesterday looking through old box scores and schedules. And this is the most mercy rule games they've ever played already, 7. But in the 80s and early 90s, during your era, there were a lot of 7-inning doubleheaders.
Right.
And I actually looked it up, Ben. I think it was in 80. Out of here somewhere. Well, I just dropped the paper. Anyway, it was like, and I think in 87 or 88, you all played 21 games that were shortened because of what we just said, 7-inning doubleheaders. Do you remember at all that ever having an impact on the team playing that many shortened games?
No, I mean, of course, I remember the 7-inning games, but I'm not even sure we had a mercy rule back then. I just don't think we had one. Now, it's always been a mercy rule, if I remember correctly, the last whatever years in the SEC tournament. We've always played in the SEC tournament alone. We have played mercy rule, but that was like the only place I ever remember the mercy rule, and the truth is nobody wants to watch a 14-1 ball game to speak of, and so I get that piece of it, and look, it's been speed up rules in college baseball. It's really sped up at the big league level now with the pitch clock and everything that's going on, and they say the fans don't enjoy a 3-hour, 14-minute game. They say that the best time frame is 2.5, 2:40, whatever. And so I feel like we're trying to speed the game up in a lot of different ways. I don't think the clock's been as big an issue so far in the college game as it is in spring training with the major league guys right now. I did a spring training game the other day. We had 6 violations between pitchers and hitters, and 3 of which ended innings, And so it's a little bit different, but I think that's what the fans want to see right now. And what the fans are seeing in the college game is the ball flying out of the ballpark and a lot of runs going on the scoreboard right now.
Conference play starts this weekend. Tigers at Aggies, going to be a lot of fun. Ben, where are you going to be this weekend?
I'm opening up Thursday night. We're doing Alabama at Florida. Of course, I'll be doing it for home. We're not traveling, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. I just do what they tell me to do. But yeah, we got the opening game. I got the opening game. But the good news is I got LSU and Arkansas the next weekend at LSU. All 3 games are on Linear Network, which is going to be fun. So we'll be on site for that. So I'm looking forward to that, man. It's an exciting time of the year. As you know, the SEC is just loaded again. Florida is unbelievable, it looks like. And you've heard the name Jack Caglione. Keep an eye on that guy. Talk about home runs. I think he's got 13 home runs now in 17 games for Florida. He leads the nation. So he's a fun one to watch. And, oh, by the way, he's their Sunday starter, too, and he's 3-0 with a 1.7 ERA. So he's going to be a fun guy to watch, too. The jackhammer, they call him. But I think LSU misses Florida this year, which I hate to see that, but might end up being good for the Tigers when it comes down to that 30-game grind, you know.
He is on Twitter at Real Ben McDonald. Y'all give him a follow. Ben, we always appreciate the time and the insight, man. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Take care.
That's our pleasure. Ben McDonald. So he's right. So to clarify, when Ben played, it wasn't a mercy rule. It was just they would play a lot of 7-inning doubleheaders. Like they would play 2 games on Saturday, just the way that it fell a lot. I don't know if it was weather-related or whatever the case may be, but it's interesting. I mean, LSU's doing something that schedule-wise, they really haven't done in like 30-some-odd years, basically, 30, 35 years, where they played this many shortened games. Now, this is mercy rule, not what it was then, but either way, it's interesting how Jay's going to manage those innings. So, all right, let me knock out a break. We'll come back. And it's still a ton we got to get to. LSU football picked up a linebacker commit over the weekend. I want to talk about Will Wade was introduced at McNeese today. We're going to get into some of that as well. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Well, we had a great time on Friday. Thanks to everyone who came out to the Renaissance, to Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel for Take Me Out to Tallulah. We watched the game, had some great food. Big shout out to Rally Cap, which came in with free beer samples. Our guy Taylor Calandro was there with whiskey samples as well. So a great time, and so many of you came out to Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel, and we were excited to get to introduce you to Tallulah and the great menu there that we talk about often. Of course, look, the hotel is phenomenal, as we all know, but the things that you got to know is about their meeting space. They can host any event. While we were there was a reception, like a wedding reception going on. So if it's a dozen people in a boardroom, 50 people for a reception, 500 people for a big gathering, the Renaissance can host it. As Allison over there always says, we're in the business of saying yes. So when you have your event you want hosted, the Renaissance can handle it. And, of course, Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel, an awesome casual upscale dining experience. Great for that affordable business lunch right there on Bluebonnet. Check it out. It's Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
LSU landed another commitment over the weekend. This time from linebacker Devon Keys. Give you the background here on Keys. He is 6 foot, 215 pounds. He's the number 2 inside linebacker out of the state of Texas. Made his pledge this weekend with a visit to LSU. Chose LSU over a host of big-time offers. Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Oregon, Baylor, Texas A&M. So Devon Keys committing to LSU bumps the number of commits for 2024 to 11. So LSU's got 11 commits now for 2024. The number 32 linebacker in the country. So you can look at whatever scouting service you subscribe to and sees. You're talking about a 4-star prospect here in Devon Keys, a linebacker commit for LSU here in the 2024 class. I think this is really significant. Look, I'm not going to be the guy that sits here and breaks down, you know, his film or tells you what type of prospect he is or anything like that. 3 or 4-star depending on the service. If you look at like composites, he's a 3-star, but whatever. A couple of things. Number one, I'll go back to, do you trust Matt House? Matt House is certainly a proven defensive coordinator. He also is your linebacker coach. He was the primary recruiter on Keys along with Kerry Cooks. So if you trust Matt House, his evaluation, talent evaluation, and ability to identify and develop talent, then you're good with it. So I'm very good with this. State of Texas produces great players. He's from Aledo, Texas, and had major offers as well that I always talk about. Like you can marry yourself to star ratings. I more look at, okay, who else was interested in this guy? And when he had offers from the likes of Alabama and Oregon, Texas A&M, Baylor, Oklahoma, yep, that checks all those boxes. So I love that Matt House, the DC, who's also the linebackers coach, identified this guy, was the primary recruiter, got him on board. Love all that. I also look just at need. And LSU needs linebackers. Consider where they are right now. Micah Baskerville, gone pro. Mike Jones, gone pro. DeMario Tolan left, went to Auburn. Colby Fields, who you brought in from South Carolina a year ago, transferred out again. So that was a guy who you brought in thinking, I mean, you know, Baskerville and Jones are both, you know, veteran players, but Tolan was a freshman and Fields was a guy who played 1 year at South Carolina. You brought him home to grow, develop, and build your depth there. 1 year and both those guys are gone. So you sort of had to reset your numbers. So you bring in Omar Spates from Oregon State, but he's a 1 year guy. You know, you're going to have him for a year, then he's going to be off to the league. And then you brought in a couple of freshmen with Whit Weeks and Christian Braithwaite. So you lost 4. You added 3, 2 of whom are true freshmen. So you need help there. Like, you need help at linebacker. Now, Harold Perkins is going to move to the inside. He's going to be your Mike linebacker, and I think he's going to be the next Evan White. He's phenomenal. He's athletically everything we know he is, and he's a tackling machine, and he runs sideline to sideline, and he's a freak show, and he's awesome. We all know what Harold Perkins is. And you've got Omar Spates there as well. He's a veteran player coming in from Oregon State who's been all Pac-12 and all that good stuff. You've got West Weeks, and you've got Whit Weeks, and you've got Braithwaite there now as well, and you've got Greg Penn. So your numbers this year look good, but understanding after this year, you're going to see more of that attrition to the league and to the transfer portal, and you're going to have to supplement to build up your numbers at that position, which is why I like very much what LSU's focus has already been on in this recruiting class for 2024, you know, at linebacker. They got 11 commitments already. 4 of the 11 are linebackers. I mean, when you look at Kalaj Cobbins, who's the second highest ranked player in this year's class, he's a linebacker. Xavier Atkins out of Jonesboro, he's a linebacker. Devon Keys, who we just mentioned, out of Texas, he's a linebacker. You've looked and you've targeted that position in this recruiting class because it is just an absolute necessity for this team to rebuild those numbers. And you'd love to do it through the high school ranks to build with guys that you'll have in your program for 3 or 4 years. We know that's not realistic. You'll always have to supplement in the portal. But the idea is build through high school, supplement through the portal, as opposed to building in the portal, supplementing through the high school ranks. That's backwards. That's how you're always going to have to go back into the portal every year, hoping that there's an experienced player, a talented, experienced player at a position of need ready to join your program. And in a given year, if that player isn't there, if you swing and miss on a guy, then you're in a world of hurt. So, yes, this is an ideal way to do it. I mean, look, you'd love it if DeMario Tolan were still here. But again, it's a transfer portal era. It's the NIL era. And the guy got broke off by Auburn and he left. So it happens. The portal giveth, the portal taketh away. NIL giveth, NIL taketh away. We all know the whole thing there. So I'm not here to tell you I know a whole bunch about Devon Keys. All I know is he's a linebacker, your DC, and he was also your linebackers coach, had a bunch of big-time offers from big-time schools, and you need linebackers, and you got 4 of them committed already for 2024, and Devon Keys out of Texas is the latest. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Change your life. Change your life. Stop reaching for contacts and glasses. Stop squinting to see traffic signs when you're driving. Stop squinting to see the crawl at the bottom of the TV. Stop shoving contact lens in your eye every single day. When you travel, stop worrying about it. If you go swim in the pool, if water's going to splash you in the face, you're going to lose a contact lens and be blind in one eye for the rest of the day. I live that life. Tell you what, having LASIK and just being able to see when you wake up in the morning, it's a better way to live life. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen for you just like they did for me. Call 924-2020, 924-2020 for eye care, eyewear, or eye surgery. They do it all. They do it better than anyone at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com. Will Wade was introduced today as the new head basketball coach at McNeese. Here was Will Wade on why he chose McNeese and why he chose McNeese now.
Life's a lot about timing. I think this is the perfect time for all of us in a lot of ways. McNeese basketball needs a rebirth. We got to turn this thing around. We haven't been as successful as we need to be. This area needs to continue its rebirth from the Hurricanes. You know, it's very humbling. I was here with our team after the Hurricanes hit, and we did a little bit of community service when I was down the road at LSU. And to come back and to see the progress it's made and to see the progress that still needs to be made. This area needs a rebirth. And my career needs a rebirth. After everything that's gone on, my career needs a rebirth. And so, let's be honest, right? I think this is the perfect time where all of that's coming together.
So Will Wade is the new head basketball coach at McNeese. I got asked earlier today, and I'm sure this is the question everybody's going to have, which is, how does this affect LSU? And I think it affects LSU in an ancillary way. Here's what I mean. McNeese, even with Will Wade, is not a threat to LSU. McNeese and LSU are not recruiting the same players. I love Will Wade. I personally enjoyed him tremendously. He was great to me, great to this show. And I wish him so much success at McNeese. I love to see the in-state schools do well either way. So, and wherever Will would have gone, I'd be a fan. I'll cheer for him. I hope he does awesome. I hope he does great at McNeese. I hope they win the conference and go to tournaments and do great. And ultimately, I would assume he'll have an opportunity, if he wins there, to move on to an even bigger job wherever that may be. But McNeese isn't a threat because they're just not fishing in the same pond. The ancillary effect that I was talking about is this. It's tough for Matt McMahon because that comp is always going to be there. You're always going to be compared to the guy you replaced. And Will Wade he became a martyr in many respects. Will Wade got popped for doing something that everybody does. Everybody. And is now legal. So as an LSU fan, you look at the Will Wade situation, which we all know, and Will had tremendous support from the fans, even through all this stuff. It was like a line was drawn in the sand back in 2019, and LSU fans said, bleep it, we're with our guy, we're digging in our heels, screw you, Pat Forty, screw you, Dick Vitale, screw you, NCAA, just thumbing their nose at the establishment saying, we're riding with our guy. And as the more he won, the more people fed off of that. And I'm one of them. I loved it. And I was totally fine with LSU retaining Will Wade. All the things we've talked about for years. I'm not absolving Will Wade ever of wrongdoing or anything along those lines. I don't know. I know the optics the same way everybody else does. But Will Wade was very popular. And the tough part about it for Matt McMahon is if he continues to struggle in this rebuild and Wade has immediate success at McNeese, which I suspect he will, it becomes more difficult for Matt McMahon because, longing eyes just look a couple hours to the west and you see what Will Wade is doing there and you think, man, can we fire McMahon and get Wade back? I mean, there's going to be that sentiment if that happens. Now, if Matt McMahon starts winning, then it's just going to be like, hey, look, you see what Will's doing over at McNeese? Good for him. That's provided Matt McMahon wins. If he continues to struggle, if he has another year next year like he had this year, those voices grow louder and louder and louder. And then that becomes just another challenge that you have to overcome. Mostly my thought on this Will Wade news, I mean, more than anything, my biggest takeaway is I can't imagine a reality where McNeese would have hired Will Wade if there was a possibility that he was going to get popped with a show cause. It doesn't make sense. If you're McNeese, why in the world would you hire a coach that may get a show cause? Games, years, who knows? But McNeese hiring Will Wade is as clear an indicator as there could possibly be that he's not going to get a show cause from the NCAA, that he's going to be able to coach. So we've talked plenty about why the NCAA has carried this on as long as they have. Look, the Will Wade LSU stuff, the strong-ass offer and all that stuff, that's 4 years old now. And there's still not finality in that case with the NCAA. And we've talked about it plenty. I've talked about it as openly as I can. Now, I don't have... I cannot submit to you definitive proof that this is what happened. I'm being very transparent. I cannot submit to you definitive proof that this is what happened. But I've had enough conversations with enough people off the record that lead me to believe that the NCAA wanted their pound of flesh from Will Wade. They were holding the LSU football case as leverage against LSU until LSU got rid of Will Wade. Well, LSU fired Will Wade. Now maybe that's all they wanted, and Wade's going to be allowed to coach. Well, damn it, if that's the case, then the NCAA needs to put an end to this forever. The fact that Kansas and Arizona and Auburn and other schools that were involved in the same investigation have had their cases brought to finality and LSU's is still lingering is indefensible at this point. Because what's happening now is Matt McMahon is still paying for those crimes. How can you go recruit when you can't tell a recruit what potential punishment you may have? How can you recruit a full roster if you may be down scholarships? How can you recruit if you can't tell your athletes, yes, we're going to be able to play in the NCAA tournament? Like, how do you recruit when you can't answer that question? So whatever it is, yes, no, up, down, left, right, good, bad, you need an answer. And this should be the finality of it. I don't know what the NCAA is waiting on, what they've been waiting on this long, or if it's the IARP. It's time. It's time to bring this to finality. For Wade, for LSU, for everybody involved so you can get on with your life. And my hope is, here, that LSU gets nothing or a light slap on the wrist. If Wade's going to be able to coach and not get a show cause, And what the NCAA wanted was their pound of flesh from Will. Well, you got it. He was fired. He's out of coaching for a year. Now he's back in at McNeese. That's what you wanted. You got it. Now end this damn thing. So LSU can move on, so everybody can move on. It's time. All right. Wish Will Wade good luck. Hope he does great at McNeese. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Nope, I got to do that after the stab. My bad. We'll grab a break. I'm going to tell you about Clegg's Nursery after the stab. Go Muse.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Buy local, shop local. The stab sends our affiliates to break, so the Clegg's is in Baton Rouge. Buy local, shop local. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where to find them. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. It's Clegg's Nursery. Y'all, temperatures were in the 80s this weekend. We got some rain yesterday. We got a little cold snap today. High of 66, low of 44. It is still perfect. Spring is here. This is the time to get in the yard and just plant something. Clegg's Nursery can help you do it. You want rose bushes? Clegg's has them. You want other flowers? Clegg's has them. You want trees and plants and shrubs or Johnny Naylor seeds to plant that vegetable garden? Clegg's has it all. And Clegg's is partnered with True Value Hardware Store. So whatever you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you'll also find at Clegg's Nursery. Need to bring that lawn back to life and get rid of the weeds? Clegg's can help there as well. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, rolling through our 5 o'clock hour, as always brought to you by Relief Windows. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. I want to get back to some of what Derek Carr had to say when he was introduced over the weekend by the New Orleans Saints. But I would be remiss if I went any further without showering my alma mater, the greatest high school in the history of the world, Catholic High School, with their much-deserved bouquets. Because in case if you forgot it, or in case if you missed it, over the weekend, Saturday night, in the Chuck, Lake Charles, that is, the Bears decided to do it again. Did you see it, Muse? The Bears decided they were going to go out and just hang another banner.
I actually didn't see it, but you told me about it today.
I did tell you about it. How about it? Cali High! Never thought I'd see the day, Buse. Never thought I'd see the day that the Catholic High Bears would be state champions in basketball.
I don't believe you, but okay.
What do you mean?
I think you thought that could happen, yeah.
Oh, no. Basketball? No. I'm not sure I ever thought. Yeah, look, man. I mean, we've won tons. Give it to me again. Oh,
I just wanted to make sure.
Look, we won, like, I think Pete Boudreaux's won like 57 state championships in track and cross country.
Yeah.
We've won swimming. We've won soccer. We've won wrestling. We've now recently won football, even though Eddie Bonine keeps trying to take some of them away. We just keep winning more and more. Anyway, we won baseball.
Yeah.
I just never thought I'd see the day where we'd hang a basketball banner, but I'll be darned, 57-54. The Bears beat Scotlandville. Shout out Scotlandville. Great team, by the way. Seriously, great team. Great program there at Scotlandville. The Bears, Derek Jones, former Catholic High Bear, who then went and played at Mississippi State. He was on the team in 95, the last time Catholic played for a state championship, runner-up to St. Aug. I believe they had Kerry Kittles on that team. That St. Aug team was really good.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, I went to that game, as a matter of fact, at the PMAC. But I bring all this up because on Friday, if you were here, our dear friend, Mr. The Riot, was here, and he lobbed a few shots at the eventual state champion Catholic High Bears, and this is how it sounded.
Catholic High basketball is like watching paint dry. Don't get me started on that. Please don't. They submit their opponents into winning the game. They pass 500 times. Nobody dribbles. They take a stupid two-handed layup, and they win games 15-12.
Let's go.
It's the worst.
LFG.
If they win state,
Hang
it's
a banner.
Joke in high school basketball.
So that was Terrio. All of the Catholic High accounts have now been trolling Terrio all weekend. The student account Bear Nation clipped that video and put hang the banner. The actual Catholic High basketball account asked Terrio what his ring size is. I've even been, I've got a little aggressive and started posting pictures of Terrio in Catholic High gear. Yeah, there's this that exists. If you want to check that out, you pull that up, Paulie. There's Terrio head to toe in Catholic High gear over at the Traction facility. So I had to do it to my boy. Hanging banners over here, Muse. What you got, huh? How about it? What should we do? I think maybe Friday. I think Friday I might want to bring like the whole Catholic High team in here.
Well, I mean, go for it. I won't be here, but go for it. How'd the rest of the baseball series turn out between Catholic and Dunham? How'd that go?
You didn't hear?
No, I didn't hear that. How is Dunham got a couple?
Did you really not hear?
No, I don't actually. Yeah, I'm serious. I don't know. I mean, I know what happened Thursday night when they lost 17-2.
Yeah, so it was a series sweep for the Bears. Game 1, 17-2, as you mentioned. Game 2 was 13-0. Game 3, much closer.
Okay, good.
7-1.
Hey, look, man.
They got on the board.
Held them to single-digit runs. It's good stuff.
37-3 over 3 days.
Terriers didn't have a great weekend versus the Catholic High Bears at all, did he? Social media or otherwise.
You know what? He's partly to blame. That's kind of the irony in all this. He's partly to blame.
How?
Because so many of those kids train at Traction. I'm not even kidding. Like, the Catholic High baseball team, like, all those kids came up through Traction. Like, Terrio was telling me before the game, he's going over talking to him. They're all like, Coach Ryan, Coach Ryan. I mean, because he coached all those kids at Traction.
He created a monster that ultimately destroyed him, right?
Yes, there's the irony. Yeah. You created the thing that destroyed you.
Frankenstein.
The Frankenstein thing. Yeah. Dr. Frankenstein's monster.
Yes, indeed.
So you know what you should do? Send your kids to Traction. You wanna have your kids come back in years and wreak havoc on Terrio? Send your kids to Traction. Traction, where champions are made. How about that?
That was good. That worked out, actually.
I mean, all of the trainers over at Traction. Like, when I'm over at Traction, I'm like working out with my guy Tevin, Tev's the best, man. Young Tev's awesome. But, like, I'm working out next to Ethan Posick. Like, I'm on the bench next to Posick. That happened. And you know what Posick told me last week?
Pretty funny sight there.
You know what Posick told me last week? Honest to goodness. So I did 4 sets of 10 reps with the 80-pound dumbbells. And Posick, and that was light for me, by the way, too. It's the one part of my body that I'm actually strong is in my chest. But Posick was like, "Yeah, man, like that's actually kind of impressive. Like, you don't see old dudes like throwing up that kind." I was like,
"Hey, little backhanded compliment, huh?" Hey, man.
But he was serious too. That's the thing. Like, and Ethan's like the nicest guy in the world. He's a monster. You know,
yeah,
like,
very big.
He's an enormous human. But he's like, "Man, that's really impressive. You don't see old guys pushing that kind of weight." I'm like, I'm 40, man. I'm not old. I'm not young, but I'm not old.
That's tough.
I know.
That's tough scene.
But my point is, your son or daughter wants to go do performance training at Traction, get bigger, faster, stronger. They're working out with the same trainers that are training pro athletes at Traction. You want to do skill training? You're going to work out with the coaches that are training these pro athletes as well. It's at Traction. There's just no facility like it. I mean, in the region, in the country. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Ask about the membership model. You have your son or daughter could have unlimited performance or skill training for their sport specifically. Small group training with these coaches that are just dynamite. It's incredibly affordable. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com, where champions are made. All right, Terrio, my guy. How about it, dude? How about that? I mean, he teed off on him with the like watching paint dry thing, and
I mean, they dropped 57. He was sitting there saying they scored 15 points. I mean, my gosh.
57-54 was final, which is
in high school
average high school basketball.
That's pretty good.
So anyway, yeah, that was beautiful. Really, really good whenever I saw it. Okay. I was going to do some more Derek Carr stuff here, but it was way worth it just to talk about. Well, I mean, wasn't it? It was way worth it just to
Yeah, it's better. Let's be honest.
All right. Otter is next. See if we get some Otter locks in here. Don't you move.
AFR.
Had lunch today with my guys, Matt and Paul. Not Matt Musso and Paul O'Neill. Matt, Rick, and Paul Ragusa from River City's 1 Hour Air. Great lunch today over at Ichiban, incidentally. It's kind of the spot we go whenever we meet up for lunch, usually about once a month or so, and I'd catch up with all the goings-on at River City's 1 Hour Air. I'm telling you, pre-season AC tune-up right now, this is the time, y'all. This is the time before the warm weather, before the triple-digit temps get here. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. Let them come out. Make sure that your home central AC is ready for the coming warm weather so it runs efficiently throughout all of the summer months. It's at River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001. Always love sharing great 5-star Google reviews. You could read those yourself. One, simple, short, and sweet, which came in a bit ago. That says from Zachary, said, on time, professional service, quick and efficient, couldn't be happier. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
What the? Is that a skag? You've got to be kidding me. Look at those stripes. Oh, and that comfy seat. It's like he's riding on a cloud. We get it, Gary. Your stripes look perfect.
The moment you know you want a Skag. Skag. Simply the best.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And as always, you will never pay over MSRP. We also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, incomparable of an incomprehensible, back from Vegas, the Oddfather himself, Jimmy. Otter, how are you?
Good evening, Matthew. How about you? Doing good.
I am doing very well. How was Vegas?
Vegas was great, man. Stayed at the Hotel Caluche out in swanky Summerlin, and still had time to go over Thursday and Friday to hit the Circus Sportsbook, and went over to Red Rock on Saturday and hung out a lot over at the JW Marriott and Rampart with the Calucci. You know, nothing like betting no horses with Calucci's dad, and that's a treat. That's a good time.
How'd you do?
I did not do great.
Okay.
A lot of I'm more of a dog player, not strictly, but I look for value for dogs, and man, it was it Friday? Was really, especially in the power leagues, was dominated by the favorites. It was Friday or Saturday, so I think it was Saturday. So a lot of favorites just covered the number pretty easily on that day. So wasn't quite the big underdogs that we've seen. We did see a couple of runs, but, you know, this is part of and I'll give a general sort of tip going into this weekend. And talking about dogs, because I look to go against the public, the favorites are usually driven up a little bit, so you get more value when you're taking dogs and you're taking unders. That is not necessarily the case in March Madness, especially in the first round. Every sports book will tell you that they get a much higher percentage of dogs bet than normal in college basketball for the first couple of days of the tournament. Not saying it. And, looking at these numbers, Matt, these are some soft numbers. I mean, some really soft numbers. I mean, you're looking at, a 4 and a 13 at like 4.5. And
1 minute remaining.
I mean, just a lot of really soft numbers. And just look at the number one seeds where it's usually they're 30-point favorites. They're like 19 and 20 to the two that are set right now. We got one little spot in the NBA tonight. I was looking at a revenge spot. Dallas led for most of the game at Memphis a few days ago. So this is quickly turned right back around. But got to look at the lineups. No Luka, no Kyrie. Means give me Memphis -4 at Dallas tonight.
All right, Memphis laying the 4 at Dallas. Sada, where are you tonight, man?
The original walk-on.
All right.
On Burbank, so get ready for March Madness over here. And Charlie walks in right on Banker's Hours time. How you doing, Charlie?
Get that ahi tuna salad, Otter. You can never go wrong with the ahi tuna salad.
I've had it a bunch. It's great.
All right, Otter, thanks. Have a great show.
Thank you, brother.
All right, Game Time follows us. Muse, Paulie, we appreciate you so much as always. Shout out Relief Windows. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. Rained yesterday. Brought in a little cool weather, but whenever there's rain, whenever it's wet, when it's wet and humid, you know what's going to happen. It's mold. It's what happens. We're in Louisiana. Mold happens. Don't let it ruin your life. Don't let it disrupt your life. Don't let it cause harm to you or your family. Mold Zero USA can help. It's easy. They'll come in. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Let that fog dissipate. As soon as it does, mold is killed, odors removed, other pathogens have been killed as well. It's Mold Zero. You don't have to worry about cutting sheetrock or taking furniture out of your house or worrying about your plants or your pets. It's simple. You want to see how it works? Go to the website. You want to have a conversation? Call Jim Woodworth and the gang at Mold Zero USA. Mold-0usa.com. Mold-0usa.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana.